talking. They've been able to, over these last several years, have the men's shelter and the women and children shelter together under one roof, which is an incredible accomplishment. I can't tell you. They feed so many people on a daily basis, but to house people, to clothe people, and to keep them safely and separate and apart from one another under the same roof, a building that was not designed for that, by the way, has been an absolute miracle and a blessing, and you've been a part of that miracle and blessing. So we're going to get into those things today. We're going to talk to a lot of inspirational about a lot of inspirational stories of hope and survival. It's what it's all about on our Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon. Chris Hand was just here for 3 hours, and he's back with the tote board update. We got like a halftime update.
I am back, and I am so excited. I did want to say we got a couple donations, one in honor of Crystal, who was just on the air. She was my last interview. Who's
excellent.
What a shining light of hope and
incredible
testimony. What this place can accomplish. We also got $100 from Miss Deborah in honor of her son who passed away. She's always giving to the Nashville Rescue Mission. And we got another donation in honor of Dan Mandis' mom, who passed away over the weekend. Rest in peace to her, and thank you for the donations. And they also wanted to point out, small donations matter too. And that's the truth. Every donation matters. There's no dollar amount that is too small.
I will. There's no question about it. And I'm going to relate a story to you. I think I told the story last year, and I try not to tell it too much because I cry every time I tell it. Every time I tell it. And so I will attempt not to do that futilely. With regard to every donation mattering, a moment in my life that I will never forget happened in the aftermath of the April 27th, 2011 tornado outbreak that broke through the Southeast, devastated the state of Alabama. It killed 255 people. We were on air, my radio station at the time, which was a Cumulus property. We were on air 24 hours a day for 2 weeks, right?
Wow.
And we were attempting, at first it was cleanup and it was helping people in emergency style situations. And that eventually transitioned to trying to raise money and goods for literal survival of some of these communities that were absolutely devastated. We were having an 18-wheeler collection point outside of an Academy Sports, and there were people coming by, and they were giving thousands of dollars, literally dropping off $2,000 generators to us at our point of retrieval. And we were getting those 18-wheelers back out to the communities that were affected, like Concord, Alabama, and Hackleburg, Alabama. Anybody that remembers the outbreak, it was absolutely devastating. And so we're in the midst of it's our 8th hour of collecting these things. And this little car, we had a drive-through where people did not have to get out of their car. They could simply give out of their windows, whether it was goods or actual monetary donations. And a little couple rode up in a beat-up, probably 20-year-old Chrysler. And, it looked a little worse for wear. This couple looked to be somewhere in their 70s, maybe in their 80s, and it was obvious that they did not have a lot. And a woman rolled down she rolled down her window, and I leaned over, and she asked me who I was, and I told her, and she said, "We're listening to you on the radio, and we heard how much the devastation was affecting the communities, and we wanted to come by and give what we could." And she handed me a plastic grocery bag, and it had 3 bottles of water in it, and she handed me 85 cents.
Wow.
And she said, "It's all we've got." And I in that moment in time, I wanted to tell her no, but I realized how insulting it would be to tell her no. And so I told her thank you, and I hugged her neck. And it is the spirit of America in that moment in time for me, and the spirit of humanity in that moment of time for me that I'm reminded of when I walk through the Nashville Rescue Mission. And it breaks me up every time I think about it, because I recapture that moment every time I think of it, and it is the most generous donation I've ever witnessed in my life. And I just beg of you, whatever you have the ability to give, whether it's 85 cents and a couple of bottles of water, or if it's $2.85 for a meal, or if it's 30 meals for $85, or if it's $1,000, and that'll get you almost 500 meals. Please give as you can, because everything matters for people who are in need. And for an organization like this one, let me tell you, folks, since they opened their doors in 1954, this mission has provided incredible opportunity. And that's what I look at it as. Whatever your circumstance, however you got into your circumstance, it's a judgment-free zone. They simply want to make your dynamic better at the Nashville Rescue Mission. So whether it was drugs and alcohol, whether it was a mental situation that led you down the road of depression, whatever your situation, they want to help you get a step up and step out of that situation and into a better life. And they're doing it, and we're just here one day a year to try to help them.
Yeah, and to your story, first, that's an amazing story, but it reminds me of the story of Jesus and the widow when they were asking for donations, and this widow put her coins in a box, and Jesus says, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on." And that's the story that jumps to my mind when you're telling the story of the couple with the 3 bottles of water and the 85 cents. I mean, this is where we're at, and the Nashville Rescue Mission does so much, and a big donation isn't the only thing we're looking for. A meal costs $2.85, but I will say, because of all the small donations and the large donations, we have a new total of what we've raised.
Yeah, let's do it. Come on.
All right, the new total, my friend, $125,607.97.
Love
so
that.
thank you, everyone
love
who's
that.
donating. We still have more ground to cover, and we can do way better than this.
That's $1/8 of $1 million. That's $1/8 of $1 million. I think we can get to $250,000.
I think so.
I believe that. I believe in that. By 7 o'clock tonight, I believe in that. And some of the folks that are helping us do just that, Evan's just walking through the door with Paul Winkler, and we're going to get him in here to talk about everything that Paul Winkler is about and to talk about giving back to the community in the way that they do. We so appreciate Paul Winkler as a sponsor of this hour of the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon, From Hunger to Hope, presented by Mark Spain Real Estate. And you can call. I'm going to remind you of these hotline numbers quite often. You can call the Jean Bouchard and Sons donation hotline at 615-312-1500. You can also text the word meals to 52236. That's 52236. Evan with Paul Winkler. What do you got over there? Oh yeah, no, Kirby's doing some pointing and
doing fine.
No. I'm going to Evan. Evan's sitting here, so let's talk, man.
He's a pro. He can just
Kirby
run these
is,
things right in.
Oh man, you know I don't. You know what? Honestly, I don't know what we'd do without Kirby. I mean, I'm not even kidding. I don't know what would be going on without Kirby, because I've never done one of these events without Kirby. Yeah. But I promise you, the little duck, Kirby is, you know, the duck gliding across the water, right?
Absolutely.
And he looks so peaceful and calm. That's me. Kirby, he's the little flippers underneath the water, just keeping everything going.
Cool.
How's it going, Evan?
It's going great. I was actually looking forward to this when I woke up this morning.
Yeah.
And doing some reading in Scripture about taking care of people less fortunate and just reconnecting with the mission of Nashville Rescue Mission.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, our children have volunteered here. I've participated in some of the worship services at both the men's and the women's centers. And it's just, they just do great work. It's really fun to be a longtime supporter as a company and individually for what they do here.
I don't, you and I don't know each other. So tell me a little about how, did you come to know the Nashville Rescue Mission through Paul Winkler or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it was actually through church when we moved down to Nashville area in 2008. Great time to be moving anywhere in the world.
It's an interesting time to, yeah, sure.
And so found it through church, actually.
Excellent.
And some people had helped out, and I think one of the board members of the facility at the time went to the church. And then very shortly after that, became aware that we were sponsors of that. Maybe that might have started in 2010 or so, early on. But yeah, it's really good. Listening to some of the interviews this morning, both driving in and all, people were asked the question, well, why do you like to support the mission? And I don't know about you, but I get solicitations from various charities pretty frequently, some political, some charities, police, whatever. And it has just really become refreshing to give to an organization that you have a personal connection to and you know the money will be used wisely. You know it's not a scam. You know it's not ID theft. I mean, just all the things that we contend with. It's nice to know how it's run and that there's a wall you can touch, and they do great work.
Well, I mean, you said a mouthful, and it's so important to find those organizations that are trustworthy because it makes you feel so. I mean, you feel good one way or the other. You want to believe that your money's going to the right place.
Yeah.
But to know that and to have testimony after testimony in that regard, and to know, and I know that it shouldn't necessarily matter, but it does to me that it stays here in the city. I mean, you know that it's not going out of town, it's not going out of state. I mean, I'm sure that we can do wonderful things out of town and out of state, but knowing that it stays right here in our community and it assists those that are in need right on our doorstep means something to me.
And that the community can keep it functioning without any government support.
Amen.
Says a lot about the community.
Well, and it's the way, I mean, and this is the way that it should be done.
Yes.
I've long preached that, it is family, what it is, obviously it's our faith, but it is, that revolves around family, community, charity, all of those things matter, and none of them have anything to do with the government.
Right.
And when government comes in and involves itself in any of those aspects, our community organizations, our charity organizations, which are always almost always tied to the church, when government comes in and sticks its nose under that tent, eventually it's just the government there,
right?
And everybody else has been pushed out of the way, right?
Yeah.
Well, they don't let that happen at Nashville Rescue Mission because they understand how best to use our dollars.
Yeah. And so when I was standing outside, I heard that we've hit an initial goal.
$125,000.
That's pretty cool.
Halfway home, halfway to $250,000.
Exactly. And so we want to keep that going. And even though we are corporate sponsors of this event, the other thing I was thinking about this morning is, we have 10 offices. I manage 3 of them, okay? And I thought, a lot of our clients actually are supporters of the Nashville Rescue Mission as well. And I thought, when they did the inflation numbers, like, okay, $2.85 per meal. I have 585 clients.
Okay.
And so I want to donate a meal for each one of my clients.
Oh, wow.
And so if you got some match going on, that's even great. Then that's almost 1,100 meals.
Look at this.
Let's get you to the quarter mil.
$1,667.25. I'm holding the check to the National Rescue Mission. What a good man you are.
Well, we work with good people. We live in a community of good people, and we love what they do down here.
Well, they do great work. And I want to speak while because I've got my financial guy on, right? What an important component giving. I don't think that people give, and I've never thought this for a moment. It was long, those with a bank account that are able, they give just to get the donations, or they get just to get the tax write-offs, or all of this sort of thing. And I've never believed that, and I don't believe it. But when you talk to people that are developing a financial plan, I would expect that more often than not, that's a component of it. Hey, I've got to set aside this amount to tithe, or I need to set aside this amount to give to a charity.
It is a big component, especially around here. I mean, we're at the buckle of the Bible Belt. And it's interesting. The facts bear out your assertion. Even though to get nerdy, the standard deduction is high enough that a lot of people don't deduct charitable contributions anymore.
Right.
And the charities are still getting basically the same amount of contributions. I mean, they've really thrown that argument out the window until you're, looking at giving $2 million or something to somewhere. But it's a big part of that. And people are more this is anecdotal. People are more likely to cut back on eating out, cut back on supersizing their fries, than cut back on their giving. It's really a principal component of what goes on in people's finances, for sure.
Well, I see it on a daily basis. You see it. I mean, if you look for it in your life, you will see moments of charity, but you never see anything like the Nashville Rescue Mission. And I encourage people that have never seen it with their own eyes. You have, Evan.
Yeah.
Walk through this mission.
Take a tour.
Spend a moment or two. I'll give you an example. I was walking in, and my wife is a baker. And, I mean, she gets such joy out of it. And
Yeah.
so she found out we were doing this, and she baked brownies and she baked cookies
fun.
for me to bring. And as I'm walking in, I got my little container of cookies that are sitting on the table now.
I will grab one
And
later.
a sweet little lady who's sitting outside of the mission. And she's obviously, I guess I call her a resident of the mission for now. And she said, those look like goodies. And I said, sure they are. Do you want some goodies? And her face lit up, and she said, I can have some. And I said, well, of course you can have some. I mean, that's what it's all. And so I gave her some cookies. I mean, it's just from that to whatever amount you're able to give.
Yes.
To me, it's such a selfish act, right? And people think it's weird to say that.
No, I get it.
I said that giving is the ultimate selfish act because I get so much more in return than what I give. And so it creates that joy loop.
Yes.
That we see so often at the Nashville Rescue Mission.
Yeah. Thinking about the selfish aspect, I want to say it's Hebrews 13. I could get it wrong. Text later if you have a question.
They'll super text. They'll let us know.
The passage that I was looking at this morning was, entertain strangers, because you might have been entertaining. Don't turn away a stranger because in the process you might be entertaining angels. And
right.
I thought about that. It's like, okay, well, these are strangers coming in, and so, which of these meals that people are donating actually go to an angel? It just happens to be showing up, and that just really resonated with me. I don't know why this morning, but they may not all be people lacking hope. They may be an angel just helping get someone here at the right time.
How long have you been with Paul Winkler?
Since 2008. I
Since
moved down here
2008.
to join the firm.
Did you know what type of guy he was when you?
Yes, we met in 2004 at a conference, and we'd known each other for several years before I came down. Yes, and that was one of the key factors in me coming down. I was the first person to come down and open an office here that wasn't Paul. Because he's north of town, and we just didn't know, would anyone come see someone that wasn't Paul having listened to the show?
Right.
And it was an experiment that proved very well for the firm and for the people that we serve. I mean, we've got several thousand clients in the area now.
I mean, just talking to you today, I recognize that you're a faithful guy.
Yeah.
Was that? I mean, I would assume. I don't want to assume, but
No.
that was a component of joining someone like
was.
Paul Winkler to make sure that he had certain priorities that fell in line with yours.
It was, especially in this line of work, right? Talking about a firm and using your faith in that is kind of a two-edged sword because there's been a lot of people that have abused that privilege over the years. And so we've never led with that as a firm, but it's a big part of who we all are. And it's why we get along so well together, just the staff and team. It's really fun.
So, and I want to note something, by the way, and I just thought about that.
Yeah.
Evan, that check that Evan gave me, and I'm not going to show it on camera because I don't want to show off your bank account numbers or anything.
Some Eastern European hacker can get the account number.
That's from you, and that's from you and your family.
That's from Cindy and I.
I mean, Paul Winkler obviously gives as a firm and gives from a corporate, but
Yeah,
that's from
separate.
you. And what's your wife's name? Cindy.
Cindy. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Evan and Cindy, for the generous donation. You know
privilege.
you know how much it means.
Yeah.
You know how much it matters.
585 meals, man.
It's a pretty cool deal. Well, thank you for everything.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
We appreciate you. I'm gonna toss it back to you, Belle, and we'll do a short vignette to demonstrate one of the lives that are affected by the wonderful, generous donations at the Nashville Rescue Mission. It's From Hunger to Hope, presented by Mark Spain Real Estate. Also presented this hour, certainly, by Paul Winkler, and everything that those guys do at Paul Winkler is so important to the mission. The John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline is wide open, 615-312-1500, 312-1500. You can also text the word MEALS to 52236. That's MEALS to 52236. We invite you to make it a tribute gift if you want to honor a lost loved one over the last year. I want to do something before we go to the vignette. I want to do something for Dan's mom. If we can dedicate the next 30 minutes to giving in honor of Dan's mother, for those who perhaps missed Nashville's morning news this morning, I've lost my mama. I'm 50 years old, and I lost my mama in 2003. I can't imagine getting through a day like today You lean on faith, you lean on God Almighty and Jesus Christ, and you lean on the hope and the knowledge that you will see your mama again to get through a day like today. But for Dan to be here after learning of the passing of his mother over the weekend is quite something special. And let's honor that, and let's honor her by giving, just say Mama Mandis when you call in to 615-312-1500, 615-312-1500. And let's see if we can't raise a tremendous amount of money this hour for Mama Mandis in honor of her life and everything that she did for Dan. And everyone that she touched in her life. All right, quick vignette, and we'll be back in a moment. We've got news coming up as well. It's 12:28. Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Yes, we're live at the Nashville Rescue Mission. It's our annual Radiothon, the Hunger to Hope Radiothon, and we invite you to give. We also appreciate our partners that make it possible for us to do this. Partners like Brentwood Hearing Center. Brentwood Hearing Center is a wonderful organization, good people, local people, and they believe in organizations like the Nashville Rescue Mission. I've had an opportunity to sit down with Ronnie and his team and talk to them about the way that they've done their business for the last 30 years, and they're pretty good at it. Look, hearing aid technology has changed quite a bit over the last 30 years, to say the least. And the technology is such. I sat down with Ronnie last year. We talked for, 20, 30 minutes. He walked me through Brentwood Hearing's facility. We talked in his office for a little while, and he was describing certain technologies in hearing devices, and he took one out of his ear. I had no idea he had a hearing device in. Wouldn't have known he had a hearing device in. I mean, that's how small and incredible these technologies have gotten. And now they have the first waterproof hearing aid for you, the Paradise Live hearing aid, a brand new technology at Brentwood Hearing Center. Call Brentwood Hearing Center if you need them. Better hearing for a better life, 615-377-0420. 615-377-0420. They'd love to hear from you. And we thank them for being a part of our Nashville Rescue Mission, Hunger to Hope Radiothon. We'll go back to the station for a quick news update with Jay Harper. Be back in a moment from the Nashville Rescue Mission at Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Good afternoon. It is 12:34, and yes, I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got clouds, wind, and 68 degrees. We'll get that forecast to you here momentarily. This is the week that many Americans are heading out of town. Yeah, it starts today, and there are concerns about a cross-country storm that's marching through the middle of the country, and it will be affecting us locally here in Middle Tennessee later on today. ABC's Alex Stone is keeping an eye on conditions.
On one of the first big travel days of the week, leading to the peak on Wednesday, today it actually looks pretty good. Only 41 canceled flights in the U.S. That is very low. But as a storm moves east and will impact the Northeast on Tuesday, there are worries airline schedules will take a hit, but the goal of the FAA is to prevent cascading delays. It would stretch later into the week.
Plans are currently set for the final goodbye to former First Lady Rosalind Carter. ABC's Derek Dennis has more.
3 days of formal events in Georgia to celebrate the life and legacy of former First Lady Rosalind Carter. Starting next Monday, November 27th, her body will lie in repose at the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library and Museum in Plains, where the public is invited to line up and pay their respects. Next Tuesday, a ceremony and tribute service at Emory University, and then next Wednesday, her funeral service at the Family Church in Plains, where the former president taught Sunday school, followed by a private burial at the Carter family residence. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
That is the latest news. Weather's on the way, and so is the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon. Call the John Bouchard & Sons donation hotline, 615-312-1500. You can also text the word meals, that's meals with an S, to 52236. That's 52236. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
To Hope Radiothon, Nashville Rescue Mission, the beneficiary. We're here all day until 7 o'clock. The entire gang is here. Dan Mandis started us off at 5 o'clock this morning. Chris Hand from 9 until noon. Chris is still here, as a matter of fact. Chris was just smack talking that Murfreesboro will outraise Mount Juliet. We're about to get that going in the 1 o'clock hour because I have faith in Mount Juliet. Those Murfreesboro, they might be strong in number, but I think Mount Juliet's got the wallets that we can open up. Anyway, we'll do that a little bit later on. Right now, I remind you that this portion of the show is brought to you by the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Good people, good organization, and helping men all across our community get back to energy and vitality in their middle-aged years. If you're feeling low slow down, if you're feeling run down, sluggish, and you don't know why, I encourage you to make an appointment with the Tennessee Men's Clinic and allow them to examine you. Their doctors will go over you from tip to stern, and they'll figure out what's going on in your body and diagnose a prescription for success. And oftentimes that means replacing naturally occurring elements in your body, like your T levels, that dip over time, get those back up to where they need to be, and you get that energy back up as well. 615-208-9090 is the telephone number, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. 12:38 as we continue this afternoon. Libertarian lunch ongoing on the Murphy portion of the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon. And look, I don't mean to make it about Murphy versus Mandis or Murphy versus Hand or Murphy versus Wilson, but let me tell you, during our 3 hours, I want to raise more money than those dudes. So y'all help me out. Little bragging rights. I'll tell you what, if I raise more money than Chris Hand, I think it's a little unfair because Mandis and Wilson, they got an extra hour. I think it's Murphy v. Hand. If you help me raise more money than Hand, tomorrow on my radio show, I will sing Rocky Top. All right? Who cares? Who cares? Because I'm a Georgia boy. Kirby, why don't you let the host continue to host, and you continue engineering, and we'll just never let the two shall meet. So I'll sing Rocky Top tomorrow if I raise more money than Chris Hand. Okay, that matters. That matters to people that watch the game on Saturday, Kirby. I promise you that. All right, Joy Ferguson is joining us right now from the Nashville Rescue Mission. She's with Human Resources with the mission, and she's here to just talk about her experience over the last 7 years. Joy, is that right?
Correct.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. You've been sitting over there watching how the sausage is made. How's that going for you?
It's very entertaining.
With a lot of moving parts going on. Talk to us about your experience with the mission. How long have you been here?
Sure. Employed 7 years prior to my employment experience. I served as a volunteer for 10 years.
What led you to be a volunteer?
So it began with Nashville Rescue Mission's well-known mailings. I received those in my inbox, and I was inspired to support the mission as I could after reading the men, women, and children's compelling, life-changing stories.
Did you know what you were getting into when you volunteered?
I had no idea.
Did you know that it would lead to this?
I had no idea, and that's why I encourage everyone to say yes to every volunteer opportunity that they are presented with, because you have no idea what doors God will open for you.
And you just lead me right to the next question, which what has that opened up for you? I mean, what has this given back to you as you gave 10 years of volunteerism to the mission and now 7 years as an employee?
Sure. So not only do I have a new family, a new home here at Nashville Rescue Mission, I've increased my hope. I've increased my awareness, my sensitivity. It's just been a life-changing, transformational experience for me.
Is it hard? Does it ever get hard?
It's very hard. This is a calling to serve here as a volunteer, as an employee. However, it's the most rewarding, life-changing work that you will do. It's just an eternal reward that you receive. You have incredible high days, and you have some really tough days as well.
Well, and it occurs to me, and I don't presume to experience the same thing that you've been through over the last 17 years, but you can watch people at their lowest reach heights that they never possibly imagined. I mean, just speak to that. I mean, that just has to be an incredibly fulfilling time to watch someone leave the depths of perhaps drug addiction, or perhaps they're in an abusive situation and they're coming in and you're seeing them sort of that proverbial rock bottom. But to watch them climb out of that with the assistance of the Nashville Rescue Mission has to be incredibly fulfilling.
Absolutely. And I share that quite often. As an employee, as a volunteer, you have a front row seat to seeing lives transformed. You see them restored, and you have the opportunity to play a part in someone's journey of hope. So again, you have a front row seat to seeing God at his best. He is saving lives here at Nashville Rescue Mission.
That's really cool. I mean, and obviously you thought enough of the volunteering to become an official member of the team, which has to be a wonderful part of your life as well.
It is. I'm motivated to return day after day because of what I experience here at the mission, the hope that lives here. And now I have the joy of inviting our community members to join us in serving. So I am often quick to encourage others to apply to Nashville Rescue Mission and consider making the mission their employer of choice.
And look, I know when I first stepped into this environment last year, we were pushing toward the opening of the Women and Children's Center. And a lot of the donations that were coming in were an effort to get us over that hump and to make sure that we had the ability to finalize that facility. Well, it's been built now, but now we have to staff it. And now, I mean, there are so many different needs for two separate campuses. And I so encourage folks to give with that in mind. But how is life? I don't know if you, I mean, I'm assuming you were here before life got combined on both campuses. How's life been with both the women and children's campus and the men's campus in the same facility? And how are things going to change when we get those things separate?
I personally have loved it because I have the opportunity to walk up and down the hallway and see my complete staff family all under one roof. And we've done very well. So I'm excited for the women and children to experience their new facility. But I'm also sad as well. But I celebrate their new opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's going to be wonderful. I mean, is it a sad moment? I mean, to split up like that, you kind of stop for a moment. It's like you stop short on me.
I am. I'm sad to see them, but at the same time, I celebrate their excitement to move forward because this new facility is a state-of-the-art facility that's going to allow us to increase our services so that we can better meet the needs of the increasing population of those women and children experiencing homelessness. So what's not to celebrate?
You know, my job in all of this is to get you unemployed, right? You know that. I mean, you understand what I mean? My job is to make Joy go look for work because my job dictates that if your bosses come to you and say, Joy, we don't have any more people coming into the mission. Everybody's needs have been fulfilled. Everybody's needs have been satisfied in the community. So, you know, we're going to downside. I mean, that would be a joyous day, no pun intended, if we were able to do that. Now, sadly, we recognize the reality is that we're not going to find there. I mean, where are we in terms of numbers? Do we have more numbers this year than last? Are you seeing a growing population on campus?
Absolutely. So our needs are increasing. And so that's why we're so thankful for our community's generous donations, support, faithful support in meeting those needs.
Are you a football fan at all, John?
I am. Go Dogs.
Are you a Go Dogs?
Sick 'em.
What? Are we going to bury the lead here? We got to. There's a reason that they put you in the 12 o'clock.
Sounds like a ringer.
Yeah, she might be a ringer. I don't know. Well, Joy, we don't need, that means we don't need to talk about football. If you're a Volunteer fan, I was going to kind of, we're going to have a good time. I don't want the Volunteers out there to feel like us dogs are piling on. It was the second loudest moment of my life over at the stadium on Saturday when they ran the 75-yard. You remember that? Yeah.
I remember it all from moment to moment.
And it was a big moment for the Volunteers fans. Well, you think it would be a pretty good idea for the Volunteers to get me to sing Rocky Top tomorrow, huh?
How painful is that going to be for you?
I would do it for the mission. That's what I'm saying. That's what I say. Kirby doesn't understand how I would have to keep the the bile out of my throat in order to sing Rocky Top at all. And I don't pretend that I can do a better job than Dolly did on Saturday, but I'll give it my all. Joy, thank you for everything. Is there anything else we can do for the rescue mission?
No, I would just encourage those who are interested in learning more about Nashville Rescue Mission's career opportunities to view our open positions online. And there you'll see a wide variety of opportunities to join us in serving others and providing hope and help to those in need.
Obviously, we're in need of volunteers, but I'm picking up on you're in need of employees as well. How many openings do you have? Do you know the number off the top of your head?
20 to 25 openings currently across all departments. Men's and women's campus opportunities are available.
Oh, see, toward that end, I mean, as we split, those opportunities come upon you. And so give us one more time, how do people reach out in that regard? Obviously, we've been promoting the donations, but if you are looking for a position, you want something as fulfilling as this, how do people do that?
Absolutely. Visit our website, NashvilleRescueMission.org. Visit our careers page, view our open positions, and you can apply online.
That's wonderful. Joy, thank you so much for everything. We appreciate
Thank
you so much.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs to you as well. I'm sorry for that. That was just for Joy and I. Don't let that dissuade you to go to the telephone. Thank you, Joy, for everything. Go Dogs. 615-31. I know the volunteers are sensitive. That's why the volunteers are sensitive right now, and I don't want to push you away from the telephone. 615-312-1500. 615-312-1500. You can also text the word meals to 52236. That's 52236. I had a feeling that I had a dog fan in here. I had a good feeling about that. I've got a good feeling about where we're going with the rescue mission with our donations today as well. We are a little over halfway home. We're about to enter hour number 8. I think I have that right. We finished 7. We're in 8 right now, so we're about to enter 9. Of 14 full hours of talk radio dedicated to the purpose of raising money for the Nashville Rescue Mission. What a wonderful organization. 29,000, man. I just received this note. 29,000 more meals, and we will beat the all-time record for our radiothons. 29,000 more meals, and we will beat the all-time record. And I want to do it. I want to have that destroyed well before Brian Wilson gets to his final couple of hours. Frankly, I would love to happen for that to happen before 3 o'clock. So just to remind you as we bring our next guest on, one meal is $2.85. That means for less than $30, you got 10 meals. For 100 meals, that's $285.50. So I encourage you, whatever you can do, however much you can give. The mission serves 1,000. Just think about this for a moment. The mission serves 1,600 meals per day, every day, for 365 days a year. So the idea here is that we want to, in one day of broadcasting, take care of a year's worth of meals, if at all possible. As many as we can fill today for the next calendar year, that's what we want to do, because so much of this money, obviously the money goes to the facility, the money goes to some of the wonderful programs that they have at the Nashville Rescue Mission as well, but just galvanizing it right down to that simple meal, that gateway to a door opening and a pathway opening to lives being changed. That's what it's all about at the Nashville Rescue Mission. Toward that end, Diane LeBlanc is with us on the Matt Murphy portion of the Radiothon. Hello, Diane. How are you?
Hi, Matt. Good afternoon.
It's good to see you again.
Hey, thank you. I remember we were sitting here just 365 short days ago.
It feels like just yesterday. But you guys have been hard at it over the last year. So much has changed. And I was just talking to Joy about this. Last year, we were really pushing to finish up those donations for the women's campus and the children's campus. And that's been built. Now, where are we? Have we had the ribbon cutting yet?
We did. We had it a couple of weeks ago, and it was incredible. It is just such an amazing facility. We're just so blessed to be in a community where we built that out of donations.
And I'll go at you.
So,
if you're listening to this show, if you're listening to this station, if you're thinking about giving, you built this facility.
Yes. Every dime came from donations from folks in our community that were giving, had a giving heart, and there it is. It's real. It's going to make such a difference to the women and children in this community. And I think we all have so many things we can be grateful for and thankful for this time of year. If you go by Rosa Parks and you see that facility and know that facility is going to house women and children in this community, please do what you can to help support this mission.
When I grew up, I'm going to get verklempt again, but when I grew up, and we didn't have a lot. My mother had a malignant brain tumor when I was 5, and so my grandparents had to raise 3 grandchildren that they were not anticipating raising. And so, we didn't wear the nicest of clothes, and some of the picking that goes on with children can be mean. But to hear the story of you don't think about this, the children that leave the mission to go to school. And I heard the story this morning that the school picks them up first.
Buses.
The school buses pick them up first and drop them off last.
Correct.
Because they want to try to avoid those conversations.
Absolutely. And sadly, the women and children those numbers are increasing. You've heard that today. So we need to do everything we can to be there for these kids. They didn't cause this,
That's
but
right.
they're part of it, and we want to be sure that we take care of them.
Well, and anything that we can do, whether it's a monetary donation, whatever type of donation that you want to invest in. If you go to Nashville Rescue Mission, you can look at those types of things. But we're focusing on meals today, and that's what it's all about in advance of Thanksgiving. I was inspired. My heart went out to those youngsters because you're right. They did not bring this to themselves, obviously, and in a lot of cases, Mama did not bring this on herself. Maybe that it's an abusive situation. Maybe it's an addiction situation. Whatever the cause might be, one of the wonderful things about the rescue mission is your doors are open. It's a guilt-free zone. Let's walk in and let's start making it right. There's a lot of things that probably affected people's lives that made it wrong. And it's time to start making it right through the generous donations of the rescue mission.
Absolutely.
To the rescue mission, I should say.
Absolutely. We need to keep this going for our Nashville community.
How long have you been doing this?
I quit counting. I started coming in as a volunteer, served on numerous committees, work at Renaissance Bank, and we are a big supporter of the mission and have been since I've been working there 25 years. It just it gets to our heart. We know that the money that we support the mission with is going to our local folks.
You see it.
People that need our help. And so over 15 years, probably more than that, but every time I come to a board meeting, I'm on the board as well. And, we started with a testimony, and those never get old. They're real. They're from folks that have seen what this place can do for them and turn their life around. If they're willing to open up and let us come in, then we're going to hopefully transform their lives.
Well, and in my years working with charitable organizations, especially something like the Rescue Mission, you tell me if I'm talking out of school, but I think I'm on this, that so many months out of the year, the Rescue Mission is operating in the red. And it's months like November, it's the giving months
That's correct.
that help get us to the black.
Absolutely.
And that's why, every month out of the year is important in terms of giving and volunteering, obviously. But it's these months where people have it on their hearts and on their minds that are so vital to the literal mission of the Nashville Rescue Mission.
Definitely. Paul Winkler was talking, financially. I mean, people want to do end of year donations for their taxes or whatever that bucket is that we typically do see the majority of our budget come in at the end of the year.
It's got to be, as someone who recognizes that without the money, it's got to be scary, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know the fiscal year kind of operates a little differently, but still, it's like, we need these months, and you don't know from an economic standpoint where people are. But I've never been more fascinated, amazed, and just full of love in my heart than during times like this when you see the incredible generosity of the American people, the people of Tennessee, and the people of Nashville. I mean, that generosity, it has to do your heart good to walk into the call center.
It does. It's exciting over there today. I've been there since about 7:30, and we'll be there all day. And when Crystal giving her testimony earlier, just amazingly incredible, real testimony, hearing how she has taken a really tough situation that she had, and now, look what all she's done, and the mission helped her get there, and it's folks like that absolutely, it never gets old hearing those testimonies, and it does touch our heart.
If you missed it, about an hour ago, I was sitting in the corner over there, and I was prepping to get ready to come on the air. And it'll stop you in your tracks when Chris asked her a question about where she thought she would be if it weren't for the Nashville Rescue Mission. And without hesitating, she said, dead. And there's nothing more that needs to be said about what the mission means to her life, obviously, and the lives of countless of others, because there's so many. There's thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of crystals out there.
There are.
All right, so what do you encourage people to do, Diane?
Don't wait. Make that call. We want to get Matt to sing Rocky Top
That's
tomorrow.
exactly right.
Go Vols.
See, that's what I need. I need a little smack talk in my life.
We know Saturday wasn't good, but we are optimistic that they'll be in a bowl game, so that's okay. It's not our year, but we're building.
You're a bad hold on. You're a bad influence on me because so you're over there trying to make everything okay for the Vol Nation, and my first thought was, if you had set aside money to go to that fancy bowl game, and now that's all. By the way, why not give that money to the Nashville Rescue?
Exactly. I love that.
I'm just saying.
I love
that if you were planning on the Sugar Bowl or like a New Year's 6 day bowl,
maybe Music City Bowl.
Make lemonade out of lemons, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Every dollar makes a difference here. So please make a point to come over and do the I Had No Idea tour. It is so eye-opening. That's why it's called that.
Is that what y'all call it? I didn't know that's what y'all called it.
Because so many people, after they do the tour, they go through and they're just like,
I had no idea.
Yeah, it is amazing.
We all do it. I've only teared up twice in 1 hour, so I'm beating. I set a over-under for my tear-ups, but when I get to talking about the dog area, I'll do another one. Because that one always gets me. But, I had no idea. That was my I had no idea moment. The importance of allowing folks in who have pets, making sure that there's a safe space for them, because if you don't, they won't come in, right? I mean, that's
exactly right.
All right, Diane, we remind people to give as you possibly can. Diane's back there in the are you back there all day?
I am. I'm not on the phone.
In the call center?
We're tallying the totals.
Well, God bless you and everything you're doing back there. We'll check in with you from time to time.
Thanks
Thank you for
so
stopping
much.
by.
Thank you for being
There's Diane LeBlanc, who is a board member at Nashville Rescue Mission. Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon continues from hunger to hope, presented by Mark Spain Real Estate. We invite you to call the John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline at 615-312-1500, 615-312-1500. You can also text the word meals to 52236. That's 52236. And I'm trying to get, I don't know how many more I have to go. It was 29,000 more meals to beat the all-time record. And I said, look, we beat the all-time record, and you put me number one from the day parts of the day today, and I'll sing Rocky Top for you tomorrow. I'll probably do it anyway if we can beat the all-time record one way or the other. Right now, we turn over to the newsroom. Well, before we go to the newsroom, let's talk about the great folks at Savory Spice. They're wrapping up the holiday shopping space, the zone, by offering you some incredible deals on spices for the holidays and for Thanksgiving. So if you have some last-minute spices that you need to get, maybe, sage or pumpkin spice, whatever it might be, cinnamon is big this time of year, obviously. They've got it for you at Savory Spice in 2 locations to serve you. They're wonderful stewards of their community. Holly and David are good people. They're good givers back to the community. And they run a fabulous spice shop. Cannot say enough about it. Savory Spice, such good people and such good flavors at Savory Spice. You up your food game by upping your spice game. You up your spice game at Savory Spice. 2 locations to serve you. One is L&L Market. That's on Charlotte Pike in Nashville. That's the Nashville location. And then one in Franklin, right off the square next to Gray's Pharmacy. Stop by, smell the smells, enjoy the sights, enjoy the spices. And when you do stop by, tell Holly or David that Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Savory Spice. Here we go to the newsroom. And we've got Jay Harper back in the newsroom with a few headlines. And we'll be back at Nashville's Rescue Mission right after this.
Good afternoon. It is 1:02, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got clouds, wind, and 69 degrees. We'll get a changing forecast to you here momentarily. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin speaking to reporters in Kiev during a surprise visit to Ukraine today. He was asked what he envisions once the Israel-Hamas war is over.
Hopefully at the end of this, this will transition into something that provides good governance for the people of Gaza and addresses the underlying causes of instability.
This is Austin's second visit to Ukraine since the Russian invasion in 2022. His last visit was in April of last year. Former President Trump's limited gag order in the federal election interference case getting a hearing today in a Washington, D.C. appeals court. The panel questioning Assistant Special Counsel Cecil Van Devender about what the former president can and cannot say when attacked viciously in the press.
Can he say it's untrue? Would that person that is untrue? Can he say that?
He can, yes.
Okay, but he can't say that person is an untruth speaker.
If it's about the
Can he say they're an untruth speaker?
Yes. He
But can't say they're a liar.
The appeals court has paused the gag order as Trump continues to fight it. His lawyers are arguing that the order violates his First Amendment rights. Special counsel Jack Smith urging the restrictions. He says it needs to happen to protect potential jurors. That is the latest news. We've got weather on the way, and so is the continuation of the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon. Call the John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline, 615-312-1500. You can also send them a text. Just text the word meals to 52236. Again, that is 52236. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
So you normally, on any given day, if you're a talk show host, at Supertalk 99.7 WTN. You're kind of in host corner where you're all by yourself and you feel so. And today is an incredible day because not only do we have an incredible Radiothon broadcast going on at the Nashville Rescue Mission, but there's so many people. There's all sorts of. Just a hubbub. There's a bustle of activity. We got the telephone banks going on in the other room, and they're ringing off the hook. I've got Tanya bringing me tote totals, an update on the amount of money that we've raised. We got David Corlew from Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project stopping by with Tuffy. We got a lot of things going on, but we're never too busy for you. Please give if you can. Call 615-312-1500. That is the Jean Bouchard and Sons donation hotline. You can also text the word meals to 52236. We beg of you to give as you can for the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon from Hunger to Hope. Here's the 1 p.m. update. Look, they're telling me the phones aren't popping right now. That's what it says. Look, it says phones are not going like they were when Mandis and Hand were doing the dog cat challenge. That's not what it says. I'm making most of that up. But you need to get those phones rolling, baby. At 615. Here's the John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline once again. Come on, let's pick them up at 108 this afternoon. 615-312-1500. We got 47,000 plus meals already donated. $134,801.04. And I got a note that says, "Tell Matt hi from Mount Juliet." Well, here's the deal, Mount Juliet. I need y'all to show up because David Corlew's shown up, and we just threw kind of the Mount Juliet Murfreesboro Challenge out there. And let me tell you something. I know a guy that wants Mount Juliet to win that Mount Juliet Murfreesboro Challenge, and it's David Corlew with the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. Hey, David.
Hey, Matt, Mount Juliet's here.
Mount Juliet's in the house. I think there's a connection or two with David Corlew, Charlie Daniels, and Mount Juliet, right?
I'm telling you, we love our community. We love love Mount Juliet. It's home. We've been home for quite some time.
How are you doing? How's Tuffy doing?
Tuffy's doing great. We're out. This is a busy time of the year for us. We just did a distribution. We have to date we've distributed through Journey Home Project close to $350,000 this year so far.
That's excellent.
It's a busy time. We go to Clarksville tomorrow to have turkey dinner with the soldiers, and Friday we gave away some turkeys up there and stuff. So,
well, inspired by you and inspired by the fact that the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project is a sponsor for this hour, I want to encourage people, if you call in, and I just want to speak to you for a moment, and then David and I are going to continue talking about this subject. If you have a veteran in your life, call and give in honor of that veteran at 615-312-1500, because there are so many veterans, and I hope and I pray to God Almighty that your veteran, the man and woman or woman in your life that served their country, that they're A-okay, they had everything going well, that they don't have any physical results that impede them in any fashion from their service, or mental results, PTSD or whatever. But there are so many that do, and so many that find themselves at the Nashville Rescue Mission, and we want to stop that. So please call 615-312-1500, and when you call and when you donate whatever you can, just donate in honor of your veteran. And we're going to read off those names a little later on this hour in honor of those who have served their country. And that leads us right into the conversation about the rescue mission and the veteran community that find themselves homeless far too often.
You know what? It's a blessing in itself to have a place like this, because obviously one of the things that we focus on, one of the obviously the tragic part of what we do is facing this suicide epidemic that we have with the veterans, and they don't have a place to land like this. It's really the next step when you get to that point where you feel hopeless, and that's a scary place to be. And I think we all, in our own levels, in our own place, have been there. But the veteran, when he spends so much time giving, and providing his service he does to the country, providing a place where we can lay down at night and sleep and feel comfortable that our families are safe and the borders of this great nation are protected. Man, when you leave when you leave the service, and there's nobody's telling you when to eat, when to sleep, and you're back to being a regular guy, and that's a hard feeling. I've watched a lot of men and women succumb to that sadness or that depression.
You talk about the suicides. It's what, 22 on average,
I think,
or thereabouts.
I call that, and I don't mean it derogatory in a way. I call it a cliche number in the sense it's really at the end of the day, because they don't count the overdoses, they don't count the head-on collisions. But it's probably closer to 40, 45 men and women take their life in some way every day.
You and I were talking about this a week or so ago when you stopped by the studio, David, but it is a byproduct of military service that once men and women get out of service, when they are going through emotional trauma, mental trauma, even physical trauma, it's almost as if they're trained not to ask for help.
Oh, yeah, that's surrender is not in their vocabulary,
right.
And we not all of us know, but we know that to surrender is when you start to receive help. Especially in a program like they have here. They have an incredible addiction program here at this mission. It's unbelievable, and so to surrender, to give up, is just not in the vocabulary. And to ask for help can affect their VA benefits. It can affect their if they're still active duty, they just can't ask for help. They're not going to, and so that's our journey. That's our journey, is to find programs that will allow the men and women that serve this country to talk.
Tell me the backstory behind your connection. Was this a natural fit? It would feel like as soon as the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project got up and running, that this would have been a natural connection that you guys made with the Nashville Rescue Mission.
Well, when we first started out, oddly enough, it was a natural connection for Charlie and for my family. I'm native here, so I've been here for 6-7 generations. So I'm a native. This used to be a Sears and Roebuck. This place used to be, so I remember it then. So, but no, there was a connection for us. But
I can imagine little David running around begging for Christmas presents somewhere on this facility, right?
I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. But no, the mission was on our radar. But when we really did dig deep and looking at the cause of suicide and some of the byproducts of leaving the service and all, we realized there are a lot of these guys ending up on the streets, and a lot of men and women homeless, and so it's been probably 4 years ago that we made this a target. And so, as again, like all foundations, when we started out, we weren't able to give like we wanted to give, but it gets a little better every year, and I think I'm sitting in the right place. I'm here to support the community. I'm here to obviously support the men and women that have served our country. So,
with you and with Tuffy at your side, it seems a logical time for me to remind folks that, one of the things the mission does, when I first took my tour, what do they call it? They call it the I had no idea tour. That's what they call it. I hadn't, right? And it is. I mean, it really is. I mean, you see the numbers of meals that are being served. You see the amount of food service that they do. You see the amount of people that are at the facility. And we're walking down the hall. Cheryl was taking me down one of the hallways, and she pointed. She said, "And this is our dog room." And I looked in, and there were several dog beds, and there were several dogs in there. And I said, and she kind of saw my link. She said, "Well, a lot of our homeless who are looking for a place that's warm. We realized years ago that if they have a dog that they have found and created that companionship and that bond with, they will not come in if their dog doesn't have a place to come as well," which just chokes me up every time. I don't blame them either. I mean, because they're better than the four-leggers are better than the two-leggers, I'll tell you that. So they saw the need because they don't want any impediment to get people a place to sleep and a hot meal and an opportunity. I always say that meal is just a doorway that is they're trying to open for folks to walk through and find a new path in life. and they don't want any impediment, and so they literally have a place because they can't have the dogs running around in the general population, but they have a place for the dogs to go so that the dog owners can get themselves a good night's sleep and a hot meal. They feed the dogs as well. It's just a pretty cool aspect of what they do at the mission.
It's amazing, and if you can't take Tuffy, then I'm not coming in either. So, but there's a new organization. I just saw a new organization that we're going to have some dialogue with after the first of the year, and there it's Dogs on Deployment, and it's for men and women that get deployed and they don't have anybody to leave their animals with, and so there's an organization out on the West Coast now that take in the dogs and put them with foster parents while they're gone, and so that when they come back home they get their pet.
Y'all are going to be a part of that?
I
think?
hope so.
Yeah, that's
planning
good.
on it. I love that. But you know what? For them to be able to offer a place for the animals here and then I heard about the women's building, the new women's program, that had to be desperately needed here, and so happy. And the thing, I just wanted to say one thing. I just spoke to some of the leadership here, and it's amazing the amount of money that it takes to keep the doors open here. And so I think that's the challenge today, is to veterans that can donate if you have a family member, like you said, Matt. And I want to challenge the other foundations, other military foundations. There's 50, 60 military veterans that are here at any given time, I understand.
50 to 60?
Yep. And that's what I think, that's the number I just heard. And so we got to look out for our brothers and sisters. So give it up.
Well, there are so many different ways for anyone to get help. Obviously the Nashville Rescue Mission is a last opportunity. It's a last safety net. And if you're here, you've missed some of these safety nets, especially if you're a veteran. But we don't want to let them fall through these cracks, because the options after the Nashville Rescue Mission, you mentioned it, but the reality is, and I'm not trying to freak people out, but the reality is that for a lot of veterans, without this level of safety, it turns into that 22 figure. And God help us if we can't do something and give as our wallets allow and our hearts command us to save a veteran today.
Amen. And this faith, it's a faith-based place also.
That's right.
So got to hit those knees if you're going to show up here, but I think it's a small price. But I want to
come on! That's right. Come on, let's
start
do it.
the thing from Mount Juliet.
Let's go. All right, this is coming from the Charlie Daniels. I'm gonna announce it. This is coming from the Charlie Daniels Project. We got to check. I love this, from Mount Juliet and the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project, Murfreesboro. You better get off your butts and get into your wallets. $10,000 from the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project and Nashville Rescue Mission. That's awesome, David. Thank you so much.
You bet.
That is excellent. $10,000 going toward Nashville Rescue Mission. Thank you so much to the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. You know how much your organization, and this is what it's all about.
Oh yeah.
Good organizations that do it through the communities. That we don't wait on the government grants to come in. We can take care of our own, as we are the most giving people on planet Earth in the state of Tennessee. And that's what it is all about. Thank you so much, David.
That's a great reward, giving.
Amen. All right, Belle, let's cue up one of our vignettes. We love to remind you of the reasons that we are here today at the Radiothon and the reasons that we give. And we'll do this real quick and be back. I will remind you of the telephone numbers real quick. Give if you can, and I'm dedicating this hour to our military veterans, the men and women in uniform. If you are a veteran and you are able, please give. If you are the family member of a veteran and you want to give in honor of your family member, I'm planning on doing that for my wife's grandfather, Lieutenant Colonel George Holy, who served for 29 years in the United States military. National Rescue Mission is here for you. Let me give you those numbers. The John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline is 615-312-1500. 615-312-1500. And all you have to do when you donate, and there are plenty of different ways to do that when you get somebody on the phone. If you want to do so in honor of a member of your family that served in the military, please just tell them that name, whatever information you want to give them, and we'll pass that along. You can also text the word meals to 52236. That's 52236. 6. You can make a tribute gift, as I mentioned, and I'm encouraging you to do that in honor of a military veteran this hour. 615-312-1500. Back in a moment. It's 22 after the hour. We're live from the Nashville Rescue Mission on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Supertalk 99.7 WTN. It's the Hunger to Hope Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon going on all day long today. We do it once a year, 364 days a year. We talk about all manner of things. We talk about politics. We talk about the news of the day. And we have a great time doing it, and I know that you enjoy it. Today, we beg of you to give back to our community and to an organization that does it so right. The Nashville Rescue Mission doesn't take federal money. They take your money, and they utilize your money in the best possible fashion to help those that need it so much. We've got Pamela Furr on the line. Don't go to Pamela just yet, Belle, because I've got a quick update from Chris Hand, who is offering us a tally update. He's just been in the telephone room over there. Yes, sir, Mr. Hand.
I don't have a tally update yet. We're still waiting on the tally update, but I do have a couple of shout-outs. Christian donated $150 in memory of Uncle Phil Valentine, so thank you, Christian. And we also have Kathleen, who donated $50. She's a surviving parent of a heroin OD, and her son once stopped here at the mission. Good for her. Good for her to give, and it's what the mission is all about, obviously. I'm encouraging you over the next half hour or so, or really all day long, to give, if you can, in the spirit of the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. If you want to give to a veteran in your family, please call and just tell us who that veteran is, if you so desire, and let us know that you're giving in their honor. It's a tribute gift, and it's a donation in honor and in memory of someone that you love that perhaps you have lost. 312-1500. That's 615-312-1500. You need to go give around some cookies, because I don't want to take any of those home. Can you do that for me? I can definitely
in
do
the
that
spirit
for you.
of you can
go
take credit for them.
I will.
Yeah,
I will.
So you made those yourself.
Much like your.
All right, are you ready for the Murfreesboro Mount Juliet Challenge?
Well, that's what I was just about to say. You've been taking a lot of credit. You took that check.
Charlie
from
Daniels Journey Home Project. Yeah, he said Mount Juliet. It counts.
I don't know if that should count towards the Mount Juliet tally.
Yeah, look, all I know is that Charlie Daniels has got a big mural in Mount Juliet. I hadn't seen one in Murfreesboro, so.
He went to church in Murfreesboro.
Well, you got that.
He went to church there.
He knelt and prayed in Murfreesboro.
That's where he worshipped, was World Outreach with us in Murfreesboro.
Okay,
but
come
anybody,
on, my 171 brethren, my South Mount Juliet Road brethren. Come on, people.
Any of my Murfreesboro friends want to remind Davidson County how we do it. Please call in and donate.
Come on, Wilson County. Don't let me down.
Should we
City between the lakes.
Rutherford versus Davidson versus Wilson.
I mean, I don't think there's going to be any challenge. I mean, Wilson County, the most giving county in this area, right?
I don't know. I feel like Rutherford's pretty big time.
I mean, they're pretty charitable. They let me live there in Wilson County. So
fair enough.
All right, so it's the Murfreesboro Mount Juliet Challenge right now.
All right,
it's official.
Yep,
let's
it's
go.
official. All right. Murfreesboro, we got to put him to shame.
Come on, Mount Juliet. Let's go. Give us a call, 615-312-1500. Tell them Murfreesboro or Mount Juliet. There's a lot of different ways that you can give. And I think Pamela Furr is on the line with a challenge of her own. Pamela Furr joining us on the Murphy Show hotline, the Hunger to Hope Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon ongoing. Hello, Pamela.
Well, hello, Matt Murphy. And look, if you're putting Davidson County in the mix, I am in Davidson County. So I'm encouraging all Furbies to step up. I've donated $100. So I think all Furbies in Davidson County residents need to donate at least $100. And we need to show these boys what it's about.
Yes. Now, for those who don't know, Pamela, because Kirby just gave me a confused look. Kirby wants to know, what's a Furby?
That's a fan of Pamela. These are friends of mine, people who like to listen to me on the radio. So
right,
Dan,
so spins a family.
Dan Mandis coined the phrase Furbies, so I just embraced it.
Well, so you're encouraging all Furbies to call 312-1500 and donate and say, I'm a Furby, and I'm giving however much money, and let's see how much we can raise, huh?
Absolutely, 100%. I encourage you to donate $100, but if you only have $5, you're still a Furby, and you are still loved, and it is relevant. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Do it.
Well, we miss you.
Graciously and with lots of smiles and happiness, and because hope means, good things. So we should do it with a smile on our face. Absolutely.
Well, and I feel the same way, Pamela. And God bless you. Thank you for giving, and thank you for encouraging all those Furbies. You don't have to be redheaded to be a Furby, do you?
You do not.
Okay, I was just checking. All right, very good.
If you're not,
and these are the right kind of Furbies.
Correct. These are the Furbees, Furbies, not the little toy. I am not a toy. These are not little toys.
All right, Pamela, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing that tote go up as the Furbies call in and give as they can. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There's Pamela Furr encouraging all the Furbies out in the listening audience to match her donation of $100 at the Nashville Rescue Mission. She's right. I mean, today is a day of hope. It's what the mission statement of Nashville Rescue Mission is all about. They provide hope for today. They provide hope for tomorrow and hope for eternity to the hungry, the hurting, and the homeless. That's what it's all about, right? And so for me, I understand that, in the midst of these conversations, and we're about to have a conversation with Cheryl, who is the VP of Development at the mission, there are a lot of stories of struggle and strife and addiction. There are a lot of rock bottom stories that walk through the doors of Nashville Rescue Mission. But let me tell you something. There are incredible stories of survival, and there are celebrations that walk through these doors as well, going the other way. And that's what it's all about. That's what your donations go to. So quick time out. We'll check in with Jay Harper in the newsroom, find out what's going on in the world, and we'll be back in just a moment with Cheryl. We're live from the Nashville Rescue Mission. It's the Hunger to Hope Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Good afternoon. It is 1:31. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We are looking at clouds, some wind, and 68 degrees. A full forecast, and it's changing. It will be on the way in a few minutes. Civil rights groups, they're alarmed by an appeals court ruling that restricts their ability to sue under the Voting Rights Act. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy reports.
When cases are brought alleging redistricting along racial lines or discriminatory voting practices, they're very often brought by individuals or civil rights groups. But this ruling from the Eighth Circuit says there's nothing in the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that allows for a private right of action, that there's no right for an individual or group to sue under the law. If this ruling is upheld by the Supreme Court, only the Justice Department would have standing going forward.
Airlines, they're reporting a pretty smooth day so far on the first big travel day of this Thanksgiving week. Only a limited number of flights have been canceled thus far. ABC's Alex Stone is keeping an eye on things.
At LAX, for example, they expect today and Wednesday to be their busiest days of passenger loads. Both days, 223,000 passengers will move through LAX. And then on Sunday, that'll be the big whopper as everybody heads home all at once. 228,000 people on Sunday. But overall today, air travel seems to be moving smoothly. There is a storm expected to cause issues in the Northeast on Tuesday and Wednesday.
And that storm will have some effect here on the Middle Tennessee area. We'll have that weather forecast for you here shortly. That is the latest news. And so is the Nashville Rescue Mission continuing now, the Radiothon. Call the John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline. That number, 615-312-1500. You can also text the word meals to 52236. Again, that is 52236. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
It is Supertalk 99.7 WTN, and the Hunger to Hope Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon is ongoing. It's 1:35, and a good afternoon to you. If you're just joining us, the Radiothon is presented by Mark Spain Real Estate. We thank them. You can call in on the John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline, 615-312-1500. You can also text the word meals to 52236. That's 52236. Make a tribute gift, make a recurring gift, which is a monthly gift. Any way you want to do it, you can give through PayPal. There's a lot of different ways to give, Venmo and whatnot. They will not turn down your money, I promise you, because it goes to such a wonderful organization and such a wonderful cause, providing hope for today, hope for tomorrow, and hope for eternity. to the hungry, hurting, and homeless in Nashville and beyond. Hope lives right here at the Nashville Rescue Mission. It's a wonderful event. And I feel blessed to just be a small, teeny part of it, right? I am blessed to be with a company like Cumulus, with an organization like Supertalk 99.7 WTN that's willing to focus our day on an organization like the Nashville Rescue Mission. I have a very special guest for me because my I had no idea tour was conducted by our next guest. Cheryl joins us with the Nashville Rescue Mission. She's VP of Development at the Mission for just a few more days. And my first opportunity to see what you guys do, you took me on our tour.
Yeah.
Hey, Cheryl, how are you?
Good, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's good to have you. It's good to see you again. I remember that day like it was yesterday. It was about a year ago, or a little beyond a year ago, where you wanted, before my first Radiothon, to walk me through the facility because you thought it was very important to help me understand what you guys do here, and it was eye-opening.
That's great. We have the I Had No Idea tour once a month, and that's just wonderful for us to show our potential donors and volunteers exactly what we do here. And we call it I Had No Idea because many people don't have any idea of all of the services we provide and the number of people we serve.
Well, I related when David Corlew was with us. He had his service dog Tuffy with him, and it reminded me of you saying, "Well, this is our dog room." I'm like, "What? Dog room?" And walk us through how you guys at Nashville Rescue Mission recognized we don't want to turn anyone away for any reason, particularly because they are caring for another of God's creatures.
Sure. And I think, in the months when it gets cold, people want to come in, but if they have service dogs, they won't come in. And so we made it a priority to take a dorm and get some crates for the dogs. We partnered with Mars Pet Care and some of the other pet stores to provide food and all of that. When you think about 800 people, that's one thing. But then you think about I think we had 10 dogs in the fall of last year with us, and to keep the dogs safe with the people and other dogs was a challenge.
And for the last how long has it been since you have had the women's and children's campus and the men's campus on the same campus?
Oh, boy. It is going on almost 2.5 years. We brought everybody over in July. And, with every construction project, they say, 18 to 24 months. Well, here we are, November, still waiting for our permit of occupancy. Building's ready to go. We've had the ribbon cutting last month. I'm excited to welcome the women and children back. We're hoping and praying it'll be before Christmas, but we're just waiting on that. And, with all the building and the construction going on here in Nashville, they put us in the queue.
Wait a minute. So, hold on, city. I'm going to do this for you, Cheryl, because I'm not going to put up with this. So, we're ready.
Correct.
Building's ready.
Correct.
We just need the city to give the thumbs up that, hey, you guys are allowed in.
Correct.
Well, come on, city. Where you at? Let's go. I've got Freddie O'Connell on speed dial. You want me to call the mayor? The new mayor ought to. This should be in all seriousness, this should be a priority for these guys.
Yes. I mean, we've been busting at the seams for the last 2.5 years. So, yeah, we really would love to have everybody back there. It's a big, beautiful 72,000 square foot building, all brand new. Everything's just sparkling clean, and we really want to be back in
And
there.
in all seriousness, I'm not trying to wag fingers, but I am trying to encourage anyone that's listening with the city. One would think that this would be a wonderful opportunity prior to the Christmas holidays to go ahead, make it a priority. Let's get the Women's and Children's Center open, and let's get all these wonderful folks moving over there before Christmas. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. It started out as a $14 million project, and then with supply chain and all the extra costs, 16, 18, 20, 22, and it ended up at $23 million. And we will, by the end of this year, have probably raised almost all, if not all, of that money.
So wonderful. And it's in God wonderful.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, and I'm a little surprised that it's not more than the 23. With everything that went on during the time of construction, and with cost overruns, and you mentioned just literally materials going up, doubling overnight in some cases during some of those pandemic years. I'm surprised it's not more than that. Congratulations on keeping the cost where you did.
Thank you. And, everybody stepped up. The community stepped up during the whole COVID time for both our operating needs that we had and then the capital. And it just, God provides. And we just, every time we would sit down with a donor, we'd say, here's what we'd like for you to do. Nobody said no. They may have said, well, I can only do this, but people saw the need, and, women and children are increasingly the face of homelessness.
In your time with Nashville Rescue Mission, how has that changed? Have you seen more women, more families coming into the center?
We have. I'm not sure. I didn't look at the daily numbers for today, but generally we had almost 30 families and almost 60 children when I looked last week. We moved from the old building, and we probably had 15 families. Mm-hmm. So it does fluctuate, but it's just we are continuing to see more and more families come. Now,
this has traditionally been the men's campus.
Correct.
How has that worked in the 2.5 years?
We have been surprisingly blessed not to have any major incidences. It's tough. The kids don't have a playground. They're hanging on the trees. Just to have 800 people here in this building or outside in the building, and trying to kind of keep the masses where they need to be. Mm-hmm. But we've done a really good job of that. But honestly, I think everyone's waiting to go back to their respective campuses.
Well, and for those, and I always imagine that there's somebody out asking questions of themselves or asking questions of us while they listen on the radio. And for those, it is just best for everybody to keep the facilities separate.
Correct.
Because a lot of times, better than me, Cheryl, the women that come to you, they're coming from an abusive situation, for examples, or whatever. So the fact that you've been able to have them under the same roof, but basically create kind of a couple of separate campuses under the same facility, right?
Separate entrances, separate times for meals. But again, when they're outside on the parking lot or milling around, that is probably a challenge for us.
Right. And so what's life about to be like? Once we get the city off the schneid and get them motivated, get rid of somebody said a perfect word for what's going on with the city. Somebody said this, I heard this, malarkey. There's a lot of malarkey going on with the city. Once we get rid of this malarkey, how does that change your life? What's the bed capacity in the women's and children's facility? Just walk us through what that's going to be like.
The old building, we had a capacity for about 250 women and children. New building is about 350. So we have more dorms. We have bigger chapel space for our nightly chapel. Our cafeteria is bigger. We have classrooms, which we didn't have for both our life recovery and guest services. So it's about 20,000 more square feet, which gives us, much more opportunities to maybe even expand some of our programming for the women's campus.
That's cool. And what will it mean for this campus?
We have had anywhere from 600 to 700 men on this campus. We hopefully will plan a refresh for this building. It's certainly taken a beating with an extra 200 or more families and mothers and children here. So the men that are in the life recovery program will come back up to the second floor where all the women were, but it'll take some time. It's going to be a refresh of paint and cleaning and all of that. So everyone will go back to their respective spots. Certainly more space for the women and more spread out for the men's life recovery program.
We were talking to Joy Ferguson, who's with Human Resources, and she and I had not thought of this aspect of it, but she said, hey, if you're looking for a place with a good, wonderful, loving work family to be a part of something wonderful like this, we need you. She mentioned that there are positions available, and it occurs to me that, part of the reason is that we're splitting the campuses, and so we've got more folks that are needed on either of the campuses for, to serve everyone that we serve at Nashville Rescue Mission.
Yes. And, we brought every woman who was working over at the women's campus here and allowed them to continue to work, whether it be in the kitchen, whatever so we never had any need to lay someone off. And so they work together in the kitchen and other places in operations. And so with bringing them back, we're going to wait and see how much expansion potential positions we will need. But right now we're kind of going to get in there and see what we can do.
We're talking with Cheryl Chun, who is with did I say your last name correctly? Chun, Cheryl Chun, with Nashville Rescue Mission. Now I want to get personal with you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Because you're 7 days from retirement?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I don't know if I was supposed to say that on the radio, but I just did.
November 30th.
How long have you been here?
5 years.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that experience.
I came 5 years ago to be a major gift officer, which means all I was doing at the time was asking folks for money. And when the position of, it was senior director at that time, but a VP of development happened and opened up, I thought long and hard, but, I have a passion for this women's campus. And I was just so eager to help lead the team to raise that money. And so for the last 4 years, that's what I've been doing, leading a tremendous team of people to garner that $23 million.
What are you going to do with your time when you are no longer here and making calls and working hard, seeing that campus open?
Well, the first day I said, I just want to sit down and have an extra cup of coffee and not do anything for at least an hour after I get up in the morning. But I have plans. My husband and I are big golfers, and so my golf game has suffered the last 5 years, and I'd really like to get back to golfing. And I also have the national parks on my bucket list. I've done 32 of the 62. So hope to, travel around and just tour and visit friends and family outside of the national market.
You've done half the national parks?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize there were only 62.
Yeah.
I would have thought there were more. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being foolish. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm thinking of state parks, but
yes, just national.
So that's cool. That's wonderful. Good for you. Good for you. You what aspects of this do you think you miss?
I think the day-to-day interacting with the people we help and serve.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't walk around this campus without greeting someone, seeing someone, or for that matter, consoling someone that's having trouble. So that's a whole piece of this. So I plan to come back and volunteer, serve in the kitchen. I'd love to work in the brand new women's campus as well.
How many? Do you know off the top of your head how many volunteers you have on any?
Oh boy,
weekly or daily or whatever it might be.
Well, we have 3 shifts of meals, but that doesn't account for some of the volunteers that come down and do some of our sorting in the warehouse. I think, and don't quote me on this, I think there are about 7,500 that we count a year, volunteers.
7,500 volunteers. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. And you're always looking for more, I would think?
Absolutely, and especially with the new women's campus. We want all of our campus, the folks that helped out at the old campus, to come back now that we'll have the new campus open to help serve and minister to the folks there.
You were probably, I'm just guessing, Cheryl, that you were kind of hoping to see that campus occupied before retirement day.
I certainly was.
Freddie O'Connell, if you're listening, you could make this happen right now for Cheryl. You could. All you need to do is make a couple of calls. Let's get some paperwork taken care of. For goodness sake, let's get this thing open, right?
Absolutely.
Not for you, but for you too.
For the women and children.
But I'm certain that you'll be there the first day that they walk through the doors.
I will love to be there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for everything, Cheryl. We appreciate you. We appreciate you allowing us to be a part of your world, a part of Nashville Rescue Mission. Whatever small amount that we can contribute as a radio station, we are so proud to do so.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Cheryl. All right. Yes, I'm giving the phone number right now. That's what I'm doing. I'm finishing up the conversation with Cheryl, and then we're going to give the phone number. Is it dead? All right, people. Tanya's telling me that the phone lines are dead. What's up with you guys? Come on. I know you're listening to the interview. I know you're taking it all in. You're absorbing it. But without your donations, none of this matters. 615-312-1500. Tanya just told me that obviously nobody's listening to the Matt Murphy portion of the broadcast day because the phones are dead. So I want to prove Tanya wrong. Call them, if for nothing else, to say, we're listening and here's $5. Huh? Just any amount. Give as you can, but call right now, 615-312-1500. Otherwise, Tanya's going to continue to give me the business. I don't need the business from you. Get the business at home. USS, listen, speaking of a great business, USS is United Structural Systems, and they're the company that can give you a level of peace of mind unlike any other that you would get from some of these other fly-by-night guys. You don't want to trust your foundation, literally the foundation of your home, to a fly-by-night company. You want to trust it to a company that's been around for a long, long time. And USS, United Structural Systems, they've been around for 29 years. That's right. Since 1994, they've served over 25,000 satisfied customers, and they make that happen by coming to your home, diagnosing the issue, whether it's a foundation issue or a waterproofing issue, and they're going to give you peace of mind. You're not getting someone that's worried about meeting a sales quota. You're getting someone that's worried about solving your problem, and they'll do so at United Structural Systems. So give them a call today at 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for United Structural Systems. They guarantee their best. It is USS, online at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. We're at the Nashville Rescue Mission where I need the phones to go. I need your help. 615-312-1500. Please call the John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline. We are presented by Mark Spain Real Estate. It's the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon, From Hunger to Hope, on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Back right after this. Rescue Mission Radiothon continues 154. Good afternoon. Matt Murphy with you until right around 3 o'clock. I'll be here after that as well. Brian Wilson will swing in and begin anchor duties from 3 until 7 o'clock. It's a full 14 hours of conversation specific to the Nashville Rescue Mission's mission. And that mission statement is pretty simple and straightforward and direct. It's designed to give hope for today, and they do that through meals, hope for tomorrow, and hope for eternity to the hungry, hurting, and hopeless. It's all about hope, and $2.85 provides a meal, and that's important. That $2.85 provides so much more as it provides a doorway, a pathway, and an entry point to so much more than just satisfying that hunger. There's a deeper hunger for those who have found themselves at rock bottom. There's a deeper hunger that find themselves to a certain degree hopeless from a spiritual standpoint, obviously from a monetary standpoint or a financial circumstance standpoint. They can find themselves at rock bottom. But when you're there at a spiritual point in your life, it is time for sustainable change, and they provide that at Nashville Rescue Mission. I don't know, and Chris Hand's joining me now with some updates, but Chris, I know I heard you talking about this earlier. I don't believe that if you open your door to some of that free money that comes from Washington D.C. that we call free money, it's not really money. It's made up money. It's not free. Certainly
no
not
such
free.
thing as free lunch.
Right. But when I don't begrudge some of these charitable organizations that do that. I'm not here to knock them, but when you do that, you also open the door for control. And you lose the ability to do what Nashville Rescue Mission does. And I think it's the most important component of what they do, and that is spiritual life change.
Amen.
As opposed to, it's one thing to provide people a meal, but if their hearts are ready to provide them that spiritual change, that's what it's all about, man.
Well, and the critical infrastructure to change your absolute trajectory in life.
Right.
Being able to leave here not just clean, not just sober, but with a CDL license.
Oh, no doubt. Right.
Or with
a life path.
Yeah. Just not just building your foundation on a rock, but setting you up into the future is what they're doing here every day. And we see that they're making a huge difference. When I get a message from John, who made a $20 monthly donation, he signed up to donate $20 monthly. He graduated from the mission's life recovery program in 2013.
That's so cool.
So we're 10 years into him.
That's so cool.
And he's living proof of the trajectory change that they do here at the Nashville Rescue Mission.
Did the phones light up? A little. Hold on. I'm sorry, Chris Hand. Tanya just walked in, and she said she's shaking her head with the 2 p.m. update. You're shaking your head like I'm horrible disappointment to you during my time here. Come on, folks. Help me out. Help me. Help you. Help people. Give us a call. Sorry, Chris, I had to interrupt you. $48,000. That's pretty good. We're almost at $150,000. I know. She has high hopes for me. 52,724 meals. I think I'm reading that correctly. $148,690.60. So we got a long way to go to meet that record. I think we got about, $75,000 more dollars. I don't know how that translates to meals, but we need you right now more than ever. Please call and give as you can, 615-312-1500. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's one of those times where we can point out that no dollar amount is too small. If we have 60,000 people listening to our station at any given time and everybody calls in and donates $1 right now,
boom,
then we just crush our goal.
Boom.
So we're not asking for you to change your refinance your mortgage here.
And it's a good time for me to reset right before we go to Jay Harper in the news at the top of the hour. We got about a minute and a half. So the way that I look at the social construct, right? We have way too much government interference in our lives. Way too much of government doing things that they ought not to have their meat hooks into, because government never does anything as efficiently as the private sector would, right?
Amen.
So when we say we want the government out of our regular lives, out of our daily lives, with that demand comes a certain level of responsibility from us. And part of that responsibility, in my mind, is giving when we can, as we can, to good organizations like the Nashville Rescue Mission. That's what it's all about.
Charity should be the church's job, not the government's.
Amen.
And we, the community, we are the church in this situation.
Amen. No doubt. All right, quick break. Jay Harper's got an update on the news. We want these phones to ring. 615-312-1500. I'm going to walk in there while Jay Harper's doing the news, and I want those phones ringing off the hooks. 615-312-1500, or text the word meals to 52236. We're at the Nashville Rescue Mission on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Good afternoon. It is exactly 2 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got clouds, wind, and 68 degrees. We'll have a forecast for you here in just a bit. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin paying a surprise visit to Kiev today, assuring President Zelensky that the U.S. is supporting Ukraine for the long haul in its war with Russia. Austin later telling reporters the conflict has global implications.
This is about, not living in a world where a dictator can wake up one day and decide to annex the property of his peaceful neighbor. That's not the world that we want to live in.
Austin says the U.S. is giving Ukraine another $100 million in aid, including anti-tank weapons and cold weather gear for winter warfare. Officials with the National Park Service have decided to close the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in advance of some severe weather expected here this evening. It will include dangerously high winds and a red flag warning. Officials announced that the park will close some of the campgrounds. Most of the park roads will also be closed to protect visitors, employees, and park resources. Winds are expected to grow stronger later today and overnight, with sustained winds at about 40 miles an hour and possibly hurricane-force gusts. A red flag warning is in effect for the entire Smokies, which means very low humidity and stronger winds are expected to combine to produce an increased risk of fire danger. That is the latest news. We'll have our changing weather forecast here for the Middle Tennessee area up next. And also, the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon continues. We invite you to call the John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline, 615-312-1500. You can also text the word meals to 52236. That's 52236. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Are we talking to Kathy right now?
We are. Well, I thought you guys were going to finish your wrap up, and then
Okay. We'll do an update.
We'll do it live.
Got it. It is Supertalk 99.7 WTN just after 2 o'clock, 2:04 to be precise. From Hunger to Hope, the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon continues, presented by Mark Spain Real Estate. The John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline is 615-312-1500, 312-1500. And I beg of you, grab your phone, dial that number, talk to one of our friendly telephone operators. They're going to help you give as you can to the Nashville Rescue Mission. Our huge radiothon ongoing. I've got a 2 o'clock update. Chris Hand sits beside me. Brian Wilson, the one and only, just came into the house, and he's going to drive us home until 7 o'clock this afternoon as we continue 14 hours of broadcast from the Nashville Rescue Mission. My 2 o'clock update is in, and it tells me I need more donations. Please, please, please give as you can, whether you're giving in honor and memory of a loved one, a veteran. We talked about, Dan Mandis talked about this morning on Nashville's Morning News, losing his mama over the weekend. And so many of you graciously gave in honor of Mama Mandis, and that's so cool of you to do that. By the way, and you just mentioned this, Chris Hand, and I've forgotten to mention it over the last couple of hours. You can give a recurring gift, right? Someone called in with a $20 recurring gift.
Yeah, we had a friend, John. He made a $20 monthly donation. So it's $120 $240.
240.
Sorry.
Sure.
He graduated from the mission's life recovery program in 2013. So John is proof that the work that they're doing here is not just sustainable, but it'll get you into the future too.
That's so cool. And good on you, John. Thank you so much for being a part of this 2 o'clock update. We've got our big tally, $148,690.60. Yeah, baby. Woo! That is 52,172 meals.
It's amazing.
And it's incredible. We have already exceeded the goals for this year. And I'll be honest with you, folks. Frankly, you are exceeding my expectations and the expectations of the goals set by the mission, because there was a recognition. I mean, they don't live in a vacuum. They understand that your budget's a little bit tighter than it's been in past years. The economy's not doing as well as it's done in the past years. But I never underestimate the generosity of the South, and more particularly the state of Tennessee and this community in Nashville. And you have shown up and you are showing out. We need to continue to show out. Here's what we need to beat last year. We need $66,000. That's 23,300 meals. Everybody, how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. $2.85 at a time. That's how we eat that elephant. It seems like a lot. 23,000 meals seem like a lot, but we've already gotten 52,000 plus down. We only need about 23,000 more to go. Our all-time goal, by the way, our all-time record for any radiothon presented by Supertalk 99.7 WTN, to meet that all-time goal, we need about 30,000 more meals at $2.85 a pop. About 30,000. And, Tanya came in and said, hey, phone lines are down, Murph. Pump the phone lines. Let folks know that they can call right now. And Brian Wilson walked in and said, don't worry, Murphy. I got this. And I'm like, no, I got this. I got another hour to go, and I'm going to get my numbers up. 312-1500. That's 615-312-1500. If you'd like to give, we'd love for you to give us a call. What's going on in the other room? You've been in there.
The bells are ringing. People are answering phones.
That's right. Tanya's just trying to motivate me. She knows that's how I'm motivated.
She knows that you're motivated through,
It's competitive for me.
It is competitive.
I want to whoop up on hand any way that I can, and I want to know how our Murfreesboro Mount Juliet Challenge is going. By the way,
I think the Burrow's beating you guys.
You think?
I think so.
I don't know. I've been around Mount Juliet, man. Those are some of the most giving folks you'll ever want to meet. All right, we're gonna get in a moment. We're gonna talk to Kathy. Am I talking to Kathy right now? As a matter of fact, am I talking to you right now? Hand, you step that way, and Kathy's gonna step this way, and we will speak with Kathy Lewandowski or Lewandowski? Lewandowski? Did I get it right? Or are you just being nice? Come on over. Come on. Lewandowski, who is a volunteer with Nashville Rescue Mission. While she's walking over and getting into position, I remind you those telephone numbers, 615-312-1500. Please give us a call. Any way you want to give, by the way. If you want to do a monthly donation, that's wonderful. If you want to give a tribute gift, you can do that. However you want to give, they have a variety of different ways. Obviously, the standard, card system, they got that up and running. You can give through PayPal. You can give through Venmo. However you want to do it, they can help you do it at Nashville Rescue Mission. 615-312-1500. Make those phones ring, and give those guys something to do. Kathy Lewandowski joins us right now at the Nashville Rescue Mission to talk to us about her experience at the mission. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I have lived in Nashville for more than 25 years. I'm a publicist here, and I have a couple different clients that I work with around town. And actually spent several years working for the Nashville Predators, the NHL.
Yeah.
I was one of the originals that started out with the team. And now 25 years later, here we are celebrating the anniversary of hockey.
Do you know how to ice skate?
Backwards, yes.
Is it different backwards than forwards? I guess it would be.
A little bit. I'm not a professional hocky skater, but I do a couple twirls, a couple things, occasionally.
Right. Is that a part of the job description? You have to know how to do that?
Well, at the Nashville Predators, I was part of the team off the ice.
Okay.
But seeing them on the ice and how that team has thrived in a non-traditional market in the South and going to a couple Stanley Cup playoffs is exciting.
It's been a great part of the community.
Yes.
As have the Nashville Rescue Mission.
I know. And so I have been volunteering here for a couple years. I live in the downtown area. I've seen homelessness straight up. I've seen people come to me asking for donations. And when I started volunteering here, it really gave me a wide-eyed look of what it takes to give back. Mm-hmm. Everybody has time. Everybody has time to pay it forward. And it's like that Anne Frank quote, no one has ever become poor by giving, and everybody can find that time to volunteer, especially here at a local, rescue mission where more than 800 men, women, and children are housed here on a daily basis. And, Nashville is such a giving town. I've been volunteering with friends to help serve meals, to pay it forward by giving donations to those in need. And it's a really wonderful place to see your actions go to fruition and benefit those.
Each time I come here, it reminds me of how our hearts can harden when we see homelessness on the streets.
Right.
And, I ask myself why that is. And, and I get it. I understand that if I don't know that whatever I give to that homeless person is going to a positive influence in their lives, then I'm kind of hardened to open my wallet to that because I don't want to contribute to the problem. And I experience it every day when you see homelessness on the streets. Here at Nashville Rescue Mission, you know that you're funneling your money to get maximum value out of the dollars that you give, which is a wonderful feeling.
It is. And to know that you can actually financially donate to the mission or even donate with your time. Mm-hmm. A lot of folks might be hard-strapped on money, finances, et cetera, but there's always something, knowing that $1, $10, et cetera, to give back and give someone a warm meal coming off the street that is just hungry, a little bit lost, may not know exactly where they can get help. That's where the Nashville Rescue Mission fits in.
How do you, when you come to volunteer, is there a specific area that you like to go to? Do you gravitate to women's and children's? Do you do, food line, is there any particular aspect of volunteerism that you gravitate to?
I like to do the meal prep. I'm a good
foodie.
cook. I'm a foodie. I watch all those Instagrams and, Martha Stewart, and here's how you make the casserole. But, there's a lot of companies that donate food, but here's the food. How do we make it?
Right.
What do we have to prepare? And so there's some super talented chefs here at the Rescue Mission. And even over the holidays, I'll get some of my girlfriends together, some family members, et cetera, to come back and help prep the food. And we're not talking about like a roll of like bread, like yeast rolls.
Right.
It's like you're talking about like 500.
Well, I was about to say, you talk about the chefs. And, when you get into a situation where you're not preparing food for 20, many of us have Thanksgiving on the way, right? Thursday, right. And we're all excited about that Thanksgiving meal, and you might have 20 people. Right. That you're feeding.
Right.
You're talking about 1,600 meals a day.
Right.
That are being prepared at the Nashville Rescue Mission. That's a different world.
But it's good food.
It's good, right?
It's high quality. And again, me being a foodie and like to prepare these meals, it's exciting to see it come to fruition because it's not like a microwave meal. You have to cut, whether it's turkey, stuffing, et cetera. So, the volunteering aspect is something that I like to do with the food prep. And then also, as I said, I'm a publicist. So two of my clients right now, Christian and Michael Ball, perform on Monday nights to more than 300 men in ministry at the mission.
Oh, really?
And I went to go check it out. I had some local news coverage, watch them sing and perform. And, it was like 6 o'clock in the evening after they eat. And they watched this music, and the men were just to tears. They really enjoyed seeing them perform and giving it back. And I asked the musicians, Kristen and Michael, why do you volunteer? And she's like, we have time. We're on the road. We travel. We just got back from New York, but we have time out of our week to pay it forward and express our gratitude for those who may not see live music.
Good for them. So. Good for them. And what they get back in return is just, I can't
autograph
imagine.
Signing,
oh,
music.
That's so cool, though.
Photo opportunities.
Because they don't have to do that.
No.
But if you open your heart to that, you don't know what world you're opening on the other side of the stage.
That's right.
Well, that's pretty cool. Thank you so much for stepping in and stepping up with your volunteerism. I noticed you have a wish list there.
I do.
And I want you to express some of the things that are on the wish list because it is certainly about food donations. It's about $2.85 a meal, but there are also various other ways that one can give. especially this time of year when things are getting a little colder. Needs are changing for those who find themselves in a homeless situation. So walk us through some of that.
Right. So I travel a lot with my work. I see a lot of clients in different places. And, you think about stopping at a hotel, you've got toiletries, you've got toothbrushes, you've got lotion, shampoo, conditioner. So anything hospitality-wise, I routinely donate that. There's
because you paid for it, so you might as well keep it.
I'm not stealing everything from the hotel, but it's extra.
No, that's right. No, you paid for it, so you put it in there, and then you can donate it.
I have a Costco membership too, but especially what you think about too with baby items, diapers are always in need. Baby lotions, for men's clothing, socks, underwear, jeans, all those free T-shirts you get at certain sporting games that you're not going to wear, you can donate them. Aspirin, acetaminophen, so toiletries. And again, I was just going through my house, and I'm like, I don't need all these sheets. I have all these extra pillows, pillowcases, not mattresses, sheets, comforters, etc.
Sure.
They're always, if they're in good condition, right here at the Mission, you can donate those. And it's also a tax write-off, so that's another good thing.
That is another good thing. 615-312-1500 is the telephone number to give a monetary donation. $2.85 presents a meal to those hungry and in need. From Hunger to Hope, the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon number is 312-1500. Am I missing anything, Kathy?
I think we're covered.
Yeah? Thank you so much for stopping by. Remind us what this means to you. Encourage these folks to call and give today.
A sense of gratitude and just, you take advantage of the fact that you have a warm bed to sleep in. You have a meal. You have groceries. You have food in your refrigerator. Some people come in here and they are so desperate. They don't know where to go. They can find everything that they need and get back on their feet and get that direction they need in a Christ-based environment here at the Mission. So knowing that you have that empowerment to pay it forward really is just, it's priceless.
Thank you, Kathy. Kathy Lewandowski joining us for a few moments. I want to remind you that portions of today's broadcast are made possible by Efficient Heating and Cooling. Our friend Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling knows that the conditions are getting a little cooler around town, and obviously we're going to experience some of that over the next several days. If your heater's not running as it should, you probably know, right, already. Maybe you've turned it on a time or two during the coolness of the last several weeks or months. And by now, this isn't operating as it should. Well, I trust that Jeff Eddy can come to your home, fix what ails that heating unit without trying to upsell you. Now, the reality is the time will come where you might need Jeff Eddy to replace that heating unit, because that unit's going to last a lot longer than you do, God willing. Well, when they do, they're a diamond contractor with Mitsubishi Electric, an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, and they're ready to help you in that regard. But they're going to fix it. If it can be fixed for the next season or the next several years, they're going to do that as well, because they understand that budgets are tight. They also offer free financing if the time comes. Just go to their website to find out more at efficienthvac.net. That's efficienthvac.net, or call 615-784-4424 for our good friends at Efficient Heating and Cooling. If your heater's not ready, call Jeff Eddy. And call this number as well, 615-312-1500, as we continue our Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon presented by Marks Payne Real Estate. Those numbers are brought to you by the John Bouchard and Sons Donation Hotline, 615-312-1500. Let's listen in to another individual that has been helped and has been provided a hope through the Nashville Rescue Mission on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. We are at the Nashville Rescue Mission. Matt Murphy and a team at Supertalk 99.7 WTN. I mean, man, oh man, the gang's all here. I've not seen Mandis as of late, but Brian Wilson is readying himself for the drive and the drive to our record. We've got an update for you coming up as the Radiothon continues. Presented by Mark Spain Real Estate, the John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline. I hope I said that correctly. 615-312-1500. 615-312-1500. You can also text the word meals to 52236. That's 52236. Make a tribute gift, a donation in anyone's honor, anyone's memory. Support someone that you love. You can do a recurring donation. You can give through any variety of means, through PayPal and whatnot. 615-312-1500. That's 312-1500. Uh-oh. I don't know what's going on right now, but Tanya seems very, very serious. What? me. What are we offering? $1,000 donation. I will sing Rocky Top for $1,000 donation. I'll be happy to do that. So Bella, you might want to find us a good rendition. And well, there we go. I got to get the I got to get the lyrics up in front of me, and it's nice to know that I have the band in my ear, unlike poor Dolly Parton Saturday when the band wasn't in her ear. I don't know if you guys saw it. I don't know if you could see it on television the way that we saw it in the stadium, but were you at the stadium, Mason? It was pretty bad at the stadium. All right, Chris Hand is with us as well, and Chris has got somewhat of an update, too.
Yeah, we got some donations coming in. Lisa donated $100, and she said that was her Furby donation in honor of Pamela Furr. And we also had Squirrel Run Farms. They donated $50, but they want to hear you say something, Matt.
Okay.
2 words.
Okay, let me see this. Go Vols. Go Vols. Go Vols. Go Vols. I don't want to be mean. See, no, today is a day of giving and love and charity, and I'm not going to be sucked into being mean. I'm going to be the better man and say, go Vols, go Big Orange, love you, Tennessee, hope you beat Vandy, and if you're with Vandy, I hope Vandy beats Tennessee. I was actually considering trying to put together some form of Vanderbilt, Tennessee, because I think that would be a pretty fair race if we challenged Tennessee Volunteer football fans and Vanderbilt football fans to a contest to see who could raise the most money. And here's why I think it'd be fair. Because there are a lot more Tennessee fans than there are Vanderbilt fans. But the Vanderbilt fans are a lot richer than the Tennessee fans. Right? So I would think that on one hand you would have thousands of people giving tens of dollars, and the other you'd have tens of people getting thousands of dollars, and it would be a fairly competitive race. Right?
So.
Probably more fair than the Murfreesboro Mount Juliet contest, which it's my understanding that Mount Juliet is fairly ahead. I don't know.
That's not what I heard.
That's not what you. That's what I heard.
I've heard that Murfreesboro has been showing out.
Really?
That's what I heard.
I don't know. We're getting contradictory information coming from the tote room.
Oh.
Is that what we're calling that? The tote room?
Is that the tote room?
I don't know. I just remember back in the day when I watched the Jerry Lewis. Do you ever see the Jerry Lewis telethon? No, you're too young.
Yes, I've seen a Jerry Lewis.
You're
telethon.
too young for the Jerry Lewis telethon.
I've seen them.
Okay, well, I remember that they're on 24 hours, and I had this perception when I was a kid that Jerry Lewis was awake the whole time, right? Like he didn't sleep during the entire telethon. And I guess back in the day he was probably on a lot more than he was later on. But they called it the tote board, right?
Yep.
Am I remember? And you would go to the tote board. So I want to go to the tote board in a minute and see where we are, right at the, as they say, the bottom of the hour. So we'll do that in just a second. But for $1,000, I'll sing anything you want me to sing for $1,000, honestly. If you give $1,000 to the Nashville Rescue Mission, I'll go all in. I don't know that I could sing the Alabama Fight song. I don't know that I could do that, but, $1,000 and you could find out. The Nashville Rescue Mission, 312-1500 is the telephone number. That's area code 615-312-1500, presented by Mark Spain Real Estate and the John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline, 615-312-1500. $1,500. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we'll speak with Mike Tater, who is the Director of Case Management at the Mission. We'll get an update on the tote, and we invite you to give. I understand that money can be tight, especially if your personal economy has decreased over the last year, but I promise you this, knowing the people of the Nashville Rescue Mission as we do, every single dollar that they squeeze out of your donation, they get to the people that are in need. Food comes first, obviously, as we've been saying all day long. $2.85 provides a meal, but it's much, much more than that. For me, it is literally a doorway, a pathway to being able to sit down with someone, find out where they are in their lives. If theirs is a hunger imbalance, is it just financial? Is it circumstances beyond their control? Is it a spiritual issue that the mission can help with? And they can sustain change in every aspect of the lives of the individuals that they help. A lot of times there's a substance abuse issue that goes along with a homelessness issue. And the mission offers life recovery programs for men, for women struggling with addiction, either to drugs or to alcohol or other life debilitating issues. All of it, every single bit of it is free of charge. And not a single dime of it comes from the federal government. It's so important that they do it that way, as we've been talking about. National Rescue Mission stays true to their message of sharing the good news, of talking about a faith-based and a faith-filled life. I don't know that they could do that when the federal government gets involved. Over 73% of the mission's money given directly from individuals just like you. Of course, they accept generous corporate donations, and the business community is always generous, especially this time of year. But over 73% of the dollars that build the mission, the mission statement that they present on a day-to-day basis at Nashville Rescue Mission comes from individuals like you. So please open your wallets and give as generously as you are able from the Nashville Rescue Mission. Hotline 615-312-1500, 312-1500. All right, we got a trucker by the name of Joseph who, oh wow, that's pretty cool. All right, so he's issuing. I told this story earlier. I'm gonna do this real quick, and I'll go to the bottom of the hour news coming up in just a moment, Bell. But I'm gonna tell this real quick because this is pretty cool. A trucker by the name of Joseph he collected $107.42 in change in his truck, and he is now issuing. That's a lot of change, by the way. But he's now issuing the Change Cup Challenge to all of you truckers out there listening to us on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. So if we get 12 truckers to donate at least the $107, whatever change you've got, right, that amounts to $1,289, and then I have to sing Rocky Top? Is that what you're telling me, Tanya? I got to sing Rocky Top one way or the other. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. I told the story earlier, and I'll tell it again. I'm going to blow through it because I don't want to cry again. One of the most tender moments that I've ever experienced in my life, we were asking for donations for tornado relief, and we were asking for any amount. We said no amount's too small. Please give as you can. And we had people coming to us with checks of thousands of dollars. They were donating, items like generators that cost thousands of dollars. And a couple drove up in an older vehicle. It was a pretty beat up vehicle. It was an older couple. You could tell that they didn't have a lot of money, and they donated 3 bottles of water and 85 cents. And I questioned, I was like, I kind of questioned why they were there, and they said, well, you said no amount of money is too small. And I knew that they were determined to give as they could. It was the most generous, caring, loving moment that I think I've ever experienced. And I encourage you to look through your change cups, to, look where you keep some extra cash stuffed away for a special day. Well, today's that special day at the Nashville Rescue Mission. 615-312-1500. News now with Jay Harper, and I'm going to sing Rocky Top before I leave at 3 o'clock. Well, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm handing off the host duties to Brian Wilson at 3 o'clock. But Rocky Top to come. It's 2:33. Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Time for news.
Yes, good afternoon. It is 2:33, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got the clouds. We've got some wind. It's going to get windier, and we've got 68 degrees. We'll get to that forecast here in a bit. Few updates from the White House on talks to release hostages trapped in Gaza following the October 7th terror attack in Israel. For days now, officials have said that a deal is close. Some of the hostages being held by Hamas are U.S. citizens. More than 12,000 people have reportedly been killed in Israel's bombardment of Gaza, the Hamas-run health ministry says. During today's briefing with reporters, White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby, he was asked to detail how much trust exists between sides in the hostage talks.
You do the best you can going back and forth with the arrangements. Which we're doing right now. And at some point, when you come down to executing, when you hit go, then you're counting on everybody to meet their commitments.
The White House's relationship with Elon Musk under scrutiny today following Musk's post on his X social media platform that many say are anti-Semitic. IBM, Disney, that would be ABC's parent company, Apple, and others have announced that they're suspending advertising on X. But the White House continues to post on the social media site. At the White House briefing today, ABC News' Elizabeth Schulze, she asked Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre if there have been any talks about backing away from Musk's social media company.
Is the White House at all considering suspending its official White House or the president's accounts on X given Elon Musk's comments?
So I don't have anything to announce at this time or any internal conversations on that particular question.
That is the latest news. Weather's next, and so is the Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon. You can call the John Bouchard & Sons donation hotline, 615-312-1500. You can also text the word meals to 52236. Again, that's 52236. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. Part of the reason we're able to bring you this wonderful radiothon at the Nashville Rescue Mission. Good people like Dr. Gill and the Dr. Gill Center. Back pain, neck pain, knee pain, hip pain, elbow pain can all be treated at the Dr. Gill Center. Dr. Wendy told me when I first was consulted by her and we took x-rays. It was a great initial examination, and we found a couple of places that they have remedied at the Dr. Gill Center. She said, years ago it was spinal. It was chiropractic care as, we understand it when we were kids. But now it's so much more than that. It's soft tissue. It's red light therapy. It's the Class 5 laser system, all designed to reduce inflammation in the body, reduce pain in the body, reduce that swelling, and accelerate the healing process. That's what they do at the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin. So I encourage you to give them a call. Tell them that Matt Murphy told you to call and say the words pain relief. You'll get a special discount on your initial consultation at the Dr. Gill Center. 615-882-4838, 882-4838. It's the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin. Half belly, other half cat. Wild as a mink and sweet as soda pop. I still dream about that. Y'all want more of this? Okay. Maybe more later on. The more donations, the less I sing. 615-312-1500. We've actually saved the best for last. We'll do some Rocky Top a little bit later on. But right now, we are joined by Mike Tater, who is on staff at the Nashville Rescue Mission. He's Director of Case Management at the Mission. I had the pleasure of talking to Mike last year around this time, and it's good to see you again, my friend. How are you?
Guy, how you looking good?
Thank you.
2023 has treated you very nicely.
I'm trying to, take off a couple of pounds. I'm working on the singing voice. How'd I do there?
I would say maybe stick to the William Shatner kind of spoken thing.
During the break, I threatened to do the spoken word version of Rocky Top a la Shatner when he would do his albums.
Man,
you think that's probably the best?
His spoken word of Rocket Man.
Rocket Man
is so good. So entertaining.
Rocky Top.
It's so entertaining. I can't believe it.
Well, we'll work on that for a little bit later on before I go off the airwaves. You mentioned something right before we came on air, and Mike is, as I mentioned, director of case management. This is a really, really busy time for the mission.
Yes.
But you said your office kind of slows down a little bit?
Well, it sort of stays at about the same pace. And
Okay.
so everybody else goes into hyperdrive, and we just continue to keep doing what we're doing. I suppose maybe it does slow down a little bit. A lot of our partners, they quit during the Thanksgiving. A lot of the city offices that maybe we would talk to, they're closed or people are out. A lot of the medical providers and stuff are closed for a couple of days, and so we're just trying to keep things on ice until they open back up next week.
So you're where that proverbial rubber meets the road in terms of the donations that are coming in today, all of the phones that are ringing across the hall, 615-312-1500. I'm told I'm not giving those enough. 615-312-1500. Please call and give as you can. You're where that money meets the human being that
Absolutely.
is in incredible need. What do you see on a regular basis? Just walk us through what a day is like for you.
So I like to tell new employees under my department that this is the closest you're going to get to working on the mission field with still having access to Walmart. And so you just see on a daily basis, you see the best of humanity and kind of the worst of humanity. We've seen some great stuff. I was just talking this morning with somebody where we had a veteran who had an eye issue, and he had another health issue where they couldn't take care of the eye issue unless they took care of the other health issue, and they couldn't take care of the other health issue until they took care of the eye issue. And so we had to go and kind of get a variety of partners together to all get them talking. And then one day we didn't see him anymore. And a couple of weeks ago, and so he was gone for like 6 months, or maybe 2 or 3 months. And then one of the case managers who was working with him went, "Oh my gosh, that's Mr. X," and walked over and said, "Hey, Mr. X." And he said, "Who are you?" And he said, "You probably never saw me because your eyes didn't work." And he goes, "It's me. It's case manager Y." And he goes, "Oh my gosh, you were so helpful. Oh gosh." And so they got a picture and all this stuff, and we get to see stuff like that, which is really amazing. You get to see people who are just in the throes of whatever their problems are, get connected to help, whether that's here at the Life Recovery Program, or maybe medical helps, or the VA and Operation Stand Down, and a lot of our other partners help out a lot too. Get to see these folks connected to whatever it is that they need, and get to see them from going, being totally homeless with kind of nowhere to go, beginning to turn around and in some cases even thrive.
That's pretty cool. How much, as you watch people walk through your doors, obviously drug addiction has long been such a serious situation with our homeless population. But we talk on a regular basis about the fentanyl crisis. You see it, I would think, on a regular basis. Has that changed the way you do your work, or is it more part of a broader issue?
Well, over the last year and a half, it's really become something we've had to train on and really focus on. We provide fentanyl or Narcan training, which is the quick counteracting for quick overdose thing for fentanyl. We've had to train all of our staff on that, and it kind of comes and goes in waves. You don't see too much issue with it, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of folks who have overdose issues, and next thing you know, we're reading incident reports about 3 or 4 Narcans and people coming back from not being in a bad place.
Well, and I didn't even think about it until I was in the midst of asking the question, but I thought about the dangers of the individuals coming to you, but the dangers for your folks and the staff that you work with, considering some of the stories that we've heard about the amounts of fentanyl that it would take to be fatal.
It is an issue, and if we're going through somebody's through maybe a bag or something, or something's happened where we think there might be the slightest hint, it's like, you guys need to wear your gloves. You need to wear your gloves. That's something that Fortunately, my staff doesn't do a ton of bag checks or anything like that. But anytime we're dealing with anybody's personal property, it's like, hey, wear some gloves, guys.
And forgive my ignorance on this, but I think it would be educational for everyone. At what point does someone reach you or your office?
Well, good question. My office, so my department, we are not the first face they see, but maybe the second face they see. And so somebody who is homeless and they literally have nowhere to stay, maybe it's cold or whatever. Typically the process is they come to the rescue mission, they go through pat down, they go to the front desk and they say, hey man, I'm new here. I don't know. I've never been homeless. I don't know where to go. And the front desk staff points them to one of the case manager hallways. Or maybe calls on the radio and says, "Hey, we've got somebody here as a new arrival. We need to get an intake." And so they go and they do an intake and they spend 20, 30, maybe 40 minutes both intake and information, so we kind of know what we're dealing with, but also trying to get a sense of the person behind all of these statistics and saying, like, how can we help you? How can we point you in the right direction? What's your plan? How can we point you to the resources you need? How can we get you connected? What can we do to help you reintegrate into society?
I mean, so the initial phase is just trying to figure out where this person is.
Mm-hmm.
What are the biggest challenges that they're facing?
Yes.
Is it alcohol addiction, drug, some other type of drug addiction, or is it an addiction at all? And
a lot of mental health issues. Yep.
I was about to say, or is it something else going on from a mental or physical disability standpoint?
A lot of mental health issues, a lot of physical health issues, some age-related issues come up a lot with inflation. Unfortunately, inflation hits the people least able to kind of roll with it the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
If you were making $1,000 a month and your everything goes up by 10%, then you have to pick. Do you pay for your electricity, or do you pay for your food? Do you pay for your gas or whatever? And so you and I might just not eat as many tacos during the week.
Sure.
So we're seeing a lot of that kind of thing going on. And then just a variety of other issues. Family reconciliation is always something we're trying to kind of look at and make happen. A lot of times it's always money or relationship issues at a very, very high level. And that could include like your relationship with yourself. You're like, I don't want to be around people. I'm having a hard time. Maybe there's some other mental health issues there, and try and get that all sorted out.
As we talk with Mike Tater, who is Director of Case Management at Nashville Rescue Mission, here's the telephone number to remind you to give as you can, 615-312-1500, 312-1500. You see a lot of incoming.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get an opportunity to kind of see the other side of it? I hope so, because I know that I don't know. I don't want to assume, but I would imagine that a lot of this incoming, it can take an emotional toll on you and your staff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get to see some of the results?
Yeah, well, and that's the cool part about it. On any given day, something really horrible might happen, or on any given day, something really great might happen. We've had one guy, there's just all these stories that there's so many of them. One guy we kind of lived with and worked with, he wasn't really a right fit for us, but there was nowhere else for him to go. And so we worked with him for like 18 months, 2 years, and then we're able to finally place him in a group home kind of setting where the person who owned it just said, I'm just sort of, not officially, but I'm just sort of adopting him. He's just he's my guy, and every night I make sure that there's a little piece of cake for him, and it went from being a really tough situation to him having this really nice, sweet, pleasant situation where he almost had a little bit of family.
Mm-hmm.
It was really a good thing to see.
There was a quote. I'm a golfer, I'm not a golfer. I play golf. Kirby's a golfer. I just play. But I remember the quote. Tiger Woods years ago said, they asked him, what drives you on the golf course? And he said, bogeys always bothered me more than birdies pleased me.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine you've got some gotaways.
Tons.
Do they bother you more than, How do you manage that from a headspace?
That's a good question. At some point, you kind of have to compartmentalize it. I'm in a situation where I get to see, if I want to, I can kind of see what anybody's doing at any given time. But you have to look at the wins and just recognize those and recognize the losses. A lot of times, the losses will be somebody where they've sort of self-selected themselves out of whatever's going on.
Mhm.
You know, if you're making forward progress, we're going to work with you as much as we can.
Right.
And so that's that's helpful. You know, it's definitely not a perfect track record, that's for sure. But you just have to go one foot in front of the other, knowing that the person in front of you, I like to think that the people here that come through our doors are here for two reasons. One is whatever they need, social, economic, all those things, but there's also a secondary spiritual element, and maybe not so secondary. You know, if the Lord wanted to give that person a $100,000 a year job, he could easily do that. But they're here for a reason, and so we have to look at doing both of those things and meeting both of those needs. And so that's helpful.
Well,
helpful to me.
You're certainly doing the Lord's work, and I know that I'm not the first, nor will I be the last person to say that to you, but you need to be reminded of it as much as humanly possible, because we so appreciate what you do. What can we do for you? What can the listening audience do for Mike Tater?
Well, we have some case management positions open. We that's for sure.
What kind of person would you say
that's a
it
good
takes?
question.
What kind of person does that take?
It's good. We have a wide variety, and that's one of the interesting things about my department. We have a wide variety of folks here. We have two guys who were ex-Special Forces guys. We have a gentleman who was involved in law enforcement. We have a guy who was a ex-collegiate football player and worked in that space subsequent to that. We have 4 or 5 people who were missionaries. We have a former executive level banker. You kind of need to be called here for that, for sure. In terms of actual academics, you know, you have to have a good relationship with the Lord. You have to have a college degree, you know,
and a spirit of giving.
A spirit of giving. Yeah,
really,
maybe the biggest thing.
You know, just
the biggest thing.
The spirit, and every person that you meet at Nashville Rescue Mission. If you just stop by for I never knew this. I
had no idea.
I had no idea tour.
Yeah.
I had no idea tour. You stop by for one of those tours. If you give and want to stop by and just see where your money's going, whatever person that you talk to at the Nashville Rescue Mission, you will experience that spirit of giving. Every single one of you, and it's to God's credit and to the credit of the Nashville Rescue Mission, because that's by design.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time.
Glad to be
Thanks
here.
for
Good
everything
to see you
that you do. It's good to see you again as well. Mike Tater is Director of Case Management at Nashville Rescue Mission. I tell you what, Belle, I'm going to reset. I've got some new numbers for you. We'll take a short time out, play one more vignette before we say goodbye from our host platform and hand off to Brian Wilson, and then we'll still be out and about and around assisting Brian in any way he needs. The telephone number is 615-312-1500, 615-312-1500. 1500. Please call that number and give as you can. The 240 update notes. So this is like 12 minutes old, but drum roll, please. $152,876.52. We're going to re-update that right before the top of the hour, but that is 53,641 meals. That is absolutely incredible. I'm going to hum and or sing Rocky Top when we return in just a moment as we wrap up our portion and hand off to the drive with Brian Wilson. Once again, 615-312-1500. We'll be back right after this vignette. Supertalk 99.7 WTN. My apologies for not getting back a little bit quicker because I was just listening to a pretty special story. Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon is ongoing. It's presented by Mark Spain Real Estate. Let me get in all of the particulars here, and I'll tell you what story I was just listening to. The John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline, 615-312-1500. 615-312-1500. Matt Murphy's pronunciation of the John Bouchard and Sons donation hotline is brought to you by Kirby. I'm just picking on Kirby at that point. Please give, if you can, to the number that we've been giving out all day long. And we so appreciate whatever amount of money you can give, whether it's a donation as a tribute to someone, in honor of someone, in memory of someone. A lot of you this morning on Nashville's Morning News, Dan related the story that he lost his mother over the weekend, and so many of you, wonderful. I mean, I consider every single one of you to be family. Just like a big family, some of us are going to agree or disagree on politics or sports or whatever, but when it comes to things like this, we all have our hearts in the right place and our mindset in the right place. And many of you were given in honor of Dan's mom this morning. However you give and however much you give, we absolutely thank you. But I was reminded, Tanya just walked in, and it kind of touched my heart a little bit, that, we've been giving out that number, 615-312-1500. And we've been really focused on those of you who have the ability to give any amount of money. Just let's give to the cause of helping people who are in need, helping people who are suffering, helping people who need a hot meal or who need a night's sleep or who need some level of continuing and sustainable change. And Tanya just said that we just had somebody that called the donation hotline and said that they're in need, they're in crisis, and they need a recovery. And my goodness gracious, we're going to give you that too. The mission offers life recovery. I mean, it's a reminder that not just those who are willing to help are listening, but those who are hurting and struggling. Wherever you are in your life, if you're struggling with debilitation regarding, some sort of physical issue that you're having, a mental issue that you're having, or an addiction to drugs or alcohol or other life debilitating problems, they can help you at the Nashville Rescue Mission, especially if those are leading to a state of financial despair and potentially leading to homelessness. The mission provides not just that initial recovery, the $2.85, they can get you some food. That money can also get you a place to stay for the night. And if you need a place to stay for the next several nights, they can do that as well, free of charge. And then beyond that, they start offering life recovery programs like addressing alcohol addiction, addressing drug addiction for both men and women struggling. They offer job training, computer classes, operations classes, maintenance classes. They can literally get you a CDL license and get you on the road driving a truck. These are all avenues that they take and approaches that they take to help individuals in need. The mission assists men and women who've not graduated from high school, allowing them to get their GED and get their high school equivalency. They also prepare people that want to go into different aspects of careers or different career fields. It's just a wonderful organization. And I remind you as I start to close and hand off to Brian, I'll be here all afternoon to assist Brian in any way he needs or to answer telephones over in the phone center. Nashville Rescue Mission stays true to their mission, and they do the things the way that they do because of donations from people like you. They don't take money from the federal government. That money from the federal government, it seems like free money and easy money. But friends, that money comes with strings attached, and those strings often comes with a changing of how they do things. They don't want to change the way they do things because they've been such a blessing to this city for so long. So we continue on the mission. We are well on our way to breaking our all-time record, and Brian Wilson is going to drive it home. He assures me that he is driving it home this afternoon, and we'll be here to support him. 615-312-1500, 615-312-1500. We'll turn it over to Brian in mere moments, and we continue to raise money for the Nashville Rescue Mission on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Good afternoon. It is exactly 3 p.m., and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We've got some clouds and some wind. We're looking at 69 degrees. We'll have a complete forecast here in just a few moments. Well, the first busy getaway day of Thanksgiving week is it's going on right now here on this Monday. And while a pending storm in the Northeast could cause some travel problems tomorrow, ABC's Alex Stone tells us that so far so good as far as air travel goes.
To give you an idea of just how smoothly air travel is going today, the airport with the most canceled outbound flights in the U.S. is Juneau, Alaska, and it has a total of 5 canceled flights. Chicago O'Hare is next with only 4 canceled flights. And the U.S. airline with the most canceled flights is United. It's only canceled 16 flights. Most of those are international flights. Southwest is next with 6 total cancellations. So overall, it is very smooth right now.